County Board of Commissioners regular Tuesday, April 21st, 6 p.m. meeting. I will call this meeting to order at 6:01. We're only a minute late, and I want to say thank you for everybody that's here. Appreciate you being here. First item, and I believe Commissioner Hershey will be here, but we need to go on and get started. We do have a quorum, so we can go ahead. I would call for the approval of the agenda, item number 2. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Is there a second? Second. I have a motion and a second to approve our agenda for today, this evening. And is there any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for the electronic vote. There it come up. Yours didn't refresh.
Mine won't submit either.
Well,
No, because mine won't work either. I know it ain't operator error.
well, I'll call for a verbal here until we can get this fixed. So District 1, how do you vote?
Aye.
District 2 has already said aye. And District 3, how do you vote? I'm sorry, 4. I just counted to 3, sorry about that. The ayes have it, and the agenda is approved as Districts 1, 2, and 4 vote aye. Agenda is approved. Tonight, for our invocation, I'm going to ask Adam Nelson. Would you bring our invocation, please?
Let us pray. Dear Heavenly Father, before we take up the matters of Putnam County, we pause to acknowledge your presence in this place. God, I ask that you would continue to give your wisdom to these elected and appointed officials, and that all that takes place be within your name. In we pray. Amen.
Amen. And thank you very much, Adam. Paul, could I ask you to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, Paul. Item number 5 is a special presentation. This is Donate Life for Month proclamation. And I'll ask the commissioners to stand down front. And Paul, would you mind reading that? Is there someone here that we're supposed to present that to? I know we have a plaque.
Whereas one of the most meaningful gifts that a human being can bestow upon another is the gift of life, and whereas more than 100,000 men, women, and children await life-saving or life-enhancing organ transplants, of which nearly 3,000 reside in Georgia, and whereas 49,064, a record number of transplants, occurred in the calendar year 2025, thanks to the generosity of 23,789 deceased and living donors, of which 1,676 transplant patients and 679 deceased and living donors, also a record number, were from Georgia. And whereas more than 2.5 million people throughout the country and in Georgia benefit annually from tissue transplantation, thanks to thousands of tissue donors. And whereas the need for organ, eye, and tissue donation remains critical, as a new patient is added to the national waiting list for an organ transplant every 8 minutes, and millions more could experience improved quality of life through tissue transplantation. And whereas the critical donor shortage remains a public health crisis, as an average of 13 people die daily due to the lack of available organs, and whereas organ, eye, and tissue donation can provide families the comfort of knowing the gift of donated organs and tissues endows another person with renewed hope for a healthy life, and whereas donating life through organ, eye, and tissue donation is the ultimate act of generosity and kindness we Putnam County citizens can perform, and whereas nearly 3.8 million Georgians have already registered their decision to give the gift of life at www.donatelifegeorgia.org, when getting or renewing their driver's license or state identification card at a driver's license office, or when getting hunting or fishing license through the Department of Natural Resources. And whereas LifeLink of Georgia, the nonprofit organization dedicated to the recovery of organs and tissue transplantation therapy in Georgia, with a vision to maximize the gift of life while giving hope to families and transplant patients, and mission to honor donors and save lives through organ and tissue donation. Whereas Putnam County supports the life-saving mission of LifeLink of Georgia, now therefore the Putnam County Board of Commissioners does hereby proclaim the month of April as Donate Life Month in Putnam County, to honor all those who have made the decision to give the gift of life and focus attention on the extreme need for organ, eye, and tissue donation, to encourage all residents to take action and sign up on Georgia Donor Registry at www.donatelifegeorgia.org to discuss the miracle of transplantation as a family and to make a family commitment to organ, eye, and tissue donation. Proclaim the 21st day of April 2026. Chairman Bill Sharp, Commissioner McElhaney, Commissioner Garrett, Commissioner Hersey, Commissioner Wooten.
Thank you, and to me, that's a great thing. Next on the agenda is item number 6, and this is an ordinance public hearing. And I will now open the ordinance public hearing. Lynn, Mercy, can you bring me, oh, here they come, the sign-in sheets to see who is signed in. And let me make sure I've got the right one. There's 3 different ones here. And we have 3 people signed in to speak on the public hearing sign-in sheet. And this, I'll read this. This is the public hearings on approval or the proposal changes to the Putnam County Code of Ordinance, Chapter 12, Fire Protection and Prevention. And I will call the names that signed in, the 3. You have 3 minutes. And Charles Gray, you're the first. No, let's see. This, he says he's talking 16. Are you talking on item 16, or do you want to talk on the? Okay, so we got to switch that over. So now there's only 2. Brandon Burgess. Brandon? I wanted to make sure everyone that signed in had an opportunity to speak, so.
How y'all doing? It's been a little while since I've been here. I hate to say I'm kind of excited about that, gentlemen, but nonetheless, I'm back. I'm Brandon Burgess. I own Landmark Construction Development, commercial construction company, development company, based here in Greensboro in District 3. Wanted to talk about some of these stipulations and these code changes real quick. Just one of the first hot buttons I'm just going to jump through, but one of the main ones is the water line size. That the minimum is a 12-inch line. There's only one municipality that I can reference between me and the state fire marshal's office that requires a 12-inch minimum in this entire state, and that's Gwinnett County. The state says an 8-inch is adequate. If it's for a project to go bigger than that, you would do fire flow calculations, see if it required a larger system, but 8 inches is the minimum everywhere else. And I think the state, they govern a lot of areas, a lot of municipalities, and they've pretty much vetted that to be right. Just take my project there in Thunder Valley, Thunder Point, to go from an 8 to a 12-inch line. It's a 1-lane road. Would have had an impact cost to me of about $120,000 on just the water line, nothing else. And that's a lot to bear for a lot of people. That's the difference in us getting projects and not getting projects. You take the Lynn Resort or the residential development behind Scott Road, that probably goes across the lake then. It goes into Baldwin, Madison, Jones County, any of these other counties that don't require that. And we need the tax base. So it's something to keep in mind. Something else. Marble Works, Fortis, Landmark Construction, Knowles Landscaping, Grinds Landscaping, Gutter Solutions, Stair South, Luxury Lighting, Bruce Brewing, Lake Oconee Rentals, Lake Lifts, Young Harris, Dirt and Rock. Those buildings have a $200,000 to $250,000 increase if you require the 10,000 square foot rule. That's in most cases 2 to 3 times more stringent than the national code. Where it really hurts is you take a business like mine on Salmons Parkway. I have a 12,000 square foot building. It's run under a business occupancy. If Stair South wanted to acquire my building and go to an industrial occupancy, it now has to be sprinkled, which is to do now, to retrofit would be about a $200,000 increase, which in my building value is going to drop anywhere from 10 to 20% because of this code, when the state says that they can operate up to 30, 40,000 square feet with allowable access, and I'm in code. So this is real impacts to do this. It's about safety, I get it, but certain occupancies don't require that. And the state and the NFPA and the IFC and the IBC, they all say that for that reason. Firewalls, taking firewalls out to not allow for separations. That is a common practice. Mixed occupancies, fire code, fire areas, going from a one family to a single family to a duplex to require 13D system is illegal in the state of Georgia. These things have some real implications that needs to be vetted because they're not just overbearing, but they're just wrong. Thank you.
Thank you. Next on the list to speak is Bill Vargo. Bill?
Good evening. Yeah, I've got some concerns on some of these new ordinances that really need some clarification. And I believe some of this is written on here that doesn't have full clarifications, like, for example, what's the meaning of a hazardous building needing to be patrolled by fire watch? What is considered hazardous? Who makes that definition? Another one is the event of a fire marshal or chief determines a special event may have adverse impact on the public safety. What is considered a special event? Is it a family wedding in the backyard? Is it a cookout? Or is it some of these events we have here in town, the Dairy Festival and so forth, so on. So that things like that need to be defined better. And then some of the expenses that are added on that'd be unknown would be the firemen being compensated $50 an hour, and then the cost of extra fire watch personnel is undefined or undisclosed, I should say. And I'd like, before we move forward and vote on these things, I'd like to see all this stuff clarified. I know some of these things can revert back to national fire safety codes, but it doesn't say that in this agenda packet. It just, if you read it for what it says and take it for what it says, there's some pretty scary stuff in here that our county really doesn't need. But and that's kind of what I'm going at, is let's get some clarification, and if there's another code that like the National Fire Standard that this applies to, put that in there and say, according to National Fire, this is what we would like to go by. But some of these, you can misunderstand them as maybe they refer to buildings 10,000 square feet or more, but it doesn't say that in here. It says any building that's got a big renovation of 50% or more requires fire sprinklers. I'm going, okay, so you got a hen house out back and you make it twice the size. Does that mean you got to put sprinklers in it? Most likely not, but that's the kind of stuff that needs verified. Are you talking commercial buildings, residential buildings? Are you talking agricultural buildings, or what? But it just says any buildings that get renovated or remodeled at 50% or more need sprinklers. That could be very costly. especially somebody trying to sell a piece of property that was never required to have a sprinkler in it. Thank you.
Thank you. And that will, those are the people that have signed in. I would invite Chief McLean to come forward and discuss these changes that are being proposed. And I believe they're will be on the screen. Right, Lynn?
Yes, sir. Thank you, gentlemen, for allowing me to speak to you tonight. I'm honored to be here. I come before you again with these requests to change and modify Chapter 32 of the Putnam County Code of Ordinances, specifically the fire protection and prevention. I kind of went through here and I try to explain as we go. The Chapter 32 itself, as presented, will be 19 pages, but a large portion of that is currently already in the code. If you would like me to speak to some of the concerns that were mentioned before I start this, I will.
That'd be good.
Okay, so some of it is misinterpretation. Specifically, I'll start with Mr. Varga. I took a couple notes here. He said the building that's deemed to be hazardous would require fire watch. That doesn't mean we go around and look at your buildings and try to figure out if they're hazardous. That means if you have an apartment complex and the fire alarm system or the sprinkler system malfunctions or is rendered inoperable, we could require you to have a fire watch until that system is repaired and your life safety infrastructure is brought back into place. And that's already in the International Fire Code, and our current ordinance already adopts whatever current version of the IFC and IBC that the state of Georgia currently adopts with Georgia's appendices. He said if it had a change of occupancy of 50% or more, or a remodel of 50% or more, it would be required to be sprinkled. That's untrue. It says that it would be required to meet the current code for that building and that occupancy type. So it's kind of an over-exaggeration of what the code says. As far as what Mr. Burgess said, I got numbers for fire flow requirements from the from ISO of how many gallons per minute per structures that is recommends for ISO. And I promise you that there are more than one county in the state of Georgia that requires 12-inch mains in industrial areas. I didn't just sit down and make up sizes of pipe off the top of my head to recommend for you guys in these changes. I looked at other municipalities, and I actually did not look at Gwinnett County because I don't think we really compare to that very much, and I don't have any experience in Gwinnett County. So if we look a little deeper, we'll find that what I put in there is not that far away from what other jurisdictions already have in their code. Does Greene or Baldwin have that in their code? I don't think so. When I started here and started looking at building plans and infrastructure and fire safety requirements for buildings, I reached out to those surrounding jurisdictions, and they really don't require much of anything. That's why people are building the things that they're built on there that don't even meet the fire code that's already state law in the state of Georgia. There's been a building built here that didn't meet the current fire code when it was built. And when questioned, they provided me a list of 8 similar structures in surrounding counties that were built without the required fire safety infrastructure. And all of that is true. It was built, but it's not because it was legal. It was just because all of those weren't even built to meet the current state fire code. So it's easy to say things, but when you do a little bit of research, it's not always exactly true. Now I'll start my review. If you look on page 1, when we talk about, we remove some current verbiage regarding fire watch and fire watch employment. We added some sections on extra duty and fire watch. This would be for a building like we spoke about earlier, whose life safety infrastructure was not operating for whatever, an alarm system or a sprinkler system, and we would require fire watch until that was repaired. If a building was having an event that was potentially going to occupy the building with more people than the building's infrastructure was designed for to begin with, we may require a fire watch. And that just puts someone there to make sure that life safety is initiated as promptly as possible when something goes wrong. When it talks about events, we wouldn't be patrolling to see who was having a family reunion in their backyard, as has been said up here. It would be for large-scale events that are held in the county. The Dairy Festival, he mentioned specifically. We already provide extra life safety measures when that is in town than we normally do. You may or may not know, EMS puts extra crews up there. We have extra crews up there. We got golf carts, walking crews to provide first aid for the crowd, because that's above and beyond our normal service delivery. This is very much like that. We would clarify compensation requirements for off-duty employment of personnel. That's just to make sure that we can get someone to come out there and work. If you offer those guys minimum wage, you're not going to get anyone to come out there. I can require it all day, but if no one wants to spend their entire Saturday, then we miss there. We can move on to fire hydrants and mains. Additional text was added to more clearly define requirements and expectations for the installation of water mains and fire hydrants, including at what point they would be serviceable during the development. We would more clearly establish minimum standards. I know industrial's been brought up and the size of mains have been brought up. Specifically, I have this for residential developments that we fail to meet miserably. It's the building separation requirements for gallons per minute available through fire hydrants. If buildings are more than 30 feet, we require 500 gallons a minute. If they're 21 to 30 feet, we require 750 gallons a minute. And I'm going to tell you that 750 gallons a minute is about 62% of the hydrants that are in Putnam County. If you get 20 feet or less, it requires 1,000 gallons a minute. I'm going to tell you that that's less than 5% of the hydrants in Putnam County. And if it's less than 10 feet of building separation, 1,500 gallons a minute. And there's only one fire hydrant in Putnam County that supplies that much water currently today. And that's because we don't have regulation on our water main sizes and our flow capabilities. And I understand this point. If I require a subdivision to put in a certain size main and the water main that's on the road isn't capable of feeding that, then it's a moot point. But my justification for that is, in the future, I would hope that our water infrastructure in the county improves. And at that point, what we put in from this day forward would have the capabilities to handle those GPM requirements. Does that make sense? So that's the thought behind that. I understand that if what's on the road doesn't have that flow, no matter what size pipe you put in there, it's not going to make any difference. But I hope that what's on the road will improve over the years. And when I first started this, you know, that was a big argument about it. But if you look now on Harmony Road, we're improving that infrastructure to bring the water there. So I feel like very important for us to stop putting in inadequate water structure so that we can plan for the future. It addresses the types of developments and what size water mains go in there. Multifamily apartment complexes. I'm on page 4, I think. If you guys are trying to keep up. Yes, sir. And 8-inch or smaller is what's currently in, 8-inch or larger is the current requirement that's in your ordinances. And that would remain the same in the residential developments. It would only go up in multifamily dwellings and industrial parks. So we can move on to page 5, life safety infrastructure. We added something in there about Knox boxes. We've kind of been asking commercial occupancies to put them in up to this point. It's not a requirement. But all that is a box that securely mounts to the wall, and we got a key in a fire truck that'll open it. The only people that have that key are us, and Putnam County uses what's called an E-key. So when you take that key out of the truck, you got to put in your employee number, so I know who took it out at what time. And then because we have the E-key, I know what box they opened. So if I took the key out, on the audit trail, it would show that. If I went in the Dairy Queen, on the audit trail, it would show that. So that's what that's in there for. The box cost $705 the last time I looked. I don't think you're going to buy a door for a commercial building for less than that. And if we go there without keyed access, we're going to open that door in a way that's probably not going to be very user-friendly for the next guy. We clearly define fire suppression requirements in commercial multifamily developments and improve safety and survivability of occupants and responding emergency personnel. I can say that there's one thing that's added in there above the International Fire Code for multifamily dwellings. I asked that the attic spaces and the breezeways be sprinkled in addition to inside the occupancies. And that is from personal experience where I used to work. We need to protect those breezeways where that's not where the fire is. It prevents someone from exiting their apartment. And the attic part comes into, if we sprinkle those attics, exterior fires run the sidings on apartments and get in the attic space, and then you end up burning down 19 or 20 unit apartment complex, where if you had a sprinkler in the attic, it would have took care of that in the beginning, and it would save everybody a lot of pain. That's personal experience. That came from another jurisdiction that has that in there. None of this did I make up. The 10,000 square foot building size for kicking in sprinklers. Mr. Burgess is correct. You can look in the fire code, and different type occupancies will trigger sprinkler systems at different size square footages. We won't be the only county in the state that requires that. There's multiple jurisdictions. When I checked around, 10,000 square foot seemed to be the most common trigger point for sprinklers. Some were as low as 6,000 square foot in jurisdictions that I checked with. I went with 10 because it's kind of middle of the road. If you want a reference of what 10,000 square foot is, it's about the size of the bay at that new fire station back there. It's 10,000 square foot. We got to keep in mind when we talk about these life safety infrastructures of what we as a county are sending to control fires in these buildings. There's 13 people on duty today spread out amongst 345 square miles in Putnam County. That's less than goes to a single family residential structure fire in the jurisdiction that I used to work in. And if it was extra hot or extra cold, or you had a victim lost, or any extenuating circumstances, you could ask for more people. Well, when that happens here, we don't have any more people to ask for. So we need every advantage that we can give our firefighters to keep them successful at the end of the day. We had Mr. Vargo talked about the hen house a while ago. Well, we had a fire at Rose Acres Egg Farm a couple of weeks ago. I don't know if you've ever been out there. Those hen houses are massive. And we got, 10 guys standing out front to go put this fire out that's in the attic at the back of that building, 3 stories up. And we're sending them in there with no water and nobody else. If somebody ran into a problem back there, we don't have enough people to send in to get them out. We got to get it done with what we got. So what I'm trying to do is build something here that not only protects the citizens and the property within the county, but protects our responders that we're sending in there as well. We'll go to page 8 now, Ms. Lynn. For still on life safety, it talks about, it has a section in there that defines where standpipes and fire department connections should be located. And we looked at other jurisdictions on that too. We prefer for those things to be near the primary entrance to the structure. where if that building's sprinklers are activated when we get there, it's clear where we got to go to hook it up and support that sprinkler system. If it's around back behind the dumpster or in the middle of the wall where there's a collapse threat there, then we're putting our people in peril trying to find that. So it's just trying to clearly define where that goes. We can go to page 13, section 32-23. It clearly defines our fire safety and accessibility fees, defines plan review and inspection requirements. Some of this we're kind of already doing through planning and developments software system. We have these things listed on there for people to see. It defines procedures and fees for doing re-inspections. And when we talk about re-inspections, we do our inspections with overtime for on-shift personnel. And when you send a guy out to do inspections for 8 hours in a day, and he comes back and every one of the inspections that he did failed, then we wasted an entire day of overtime for that person to go out there. So that's why we need to clearly define what those requirements will be, so the occupant or person or builder can see what we're going to be looking for before we come out there. And if they still don't get it right, then we can charge a re-inspection fee to go back out there. And one I heard a lot of stuff about in the past was the burn ordinance. It's out of there. There is no burn ordinance. But our current ordinance requires you to get a permit from the Georgia Forestry Commission in order to do outdoor burning. Well, in 2021, Georgia Forestry Commission quit giving out burn permits for residential burning. So the only change to that section that I recommend is that where it currently says that you're required to get a burn permit from Georgia Forestry, I just put when required. Because if you burn land that you cleared, or you have a commercial burn or agricultural burn, you're still required to get a burn permit from the state of Georgia. But if you're burning leaves in your yard, you are not. I'm open to any questions.
Gentlemen, questions? Commissioner Garrett.
Chief, thank you for that. And I know you and I have been trading emails
Yes, sir.
about a number of these details. But just for context,
Okay.
there's a Georgia fire code, and then there's freedom at the local level to add to that. Is that fair?
So at the local level, you can require more
Right.
than the state, but you cannot require less. And currently, we've adopted the state minimums.
Well, and that's where I'm going. So, and, you know, people are throwing around, you know, I found precedents or there are no precedents. Is it the case that the state minimums are just that and every jurisdiction has a patchwork of variations, or is it that the state rules are pretty stringent and most county variance is minor? I'm just talking in general first.
So when you say county variances, you're talking about requirements
Yeah,
above that.
above, yeah.
I would say that most, some are more than others. The closer you get to the city, the more densely populated, the more stringent it's going to be. But it's the International Fire Code. It's not even the Georgia Fire Code. The state of Georgia adopted the International Fire Code and the International Building Code. That just became what Georgia goes by. But Georgia does have what they call amendments. And there are several occupancy types that by the International Fire Code would require, for instance, sprinklers. But the Georgia amendments eliminate them from that requirement. So the code book gets very deep. You can spend hours, days, I say to you weeks and months, arguing interpretations of the intent of the code. And so when you get to things like the minimum square footage requirement, that's what that's in there for, just to stop the bleeding on that. This is what it is. It's what we're going to go with.
Because it sounds like your goal is to try and strike a balance between simplicity, norms, but try and nudge the county in a certain direction in anticipation of, like you said, the tension between building density and mains capacity.
Yes, sir.
That you're trying to nudge us in a positive direction that might then stimulate some catch up. But are we ahead of the curve here? Are we going in a direction that most counties aren't going in, or are we average, or what are we doing?
I won't say most counties, but I will tell you that counties that border us, my office spends a good deal of time working with planning and development to make sure that our development meets fire infrastructure and stuff like that. And when I talk to fire chiefs in adjoining jurisdictions, they're not really, some of them are not involved in that at all, and some are. So it just depends on where you go.
Sorry, and I'll finish. But essentially, you are trying to push beyond the norm, but in your view, it's an ultimate win-win in terms of safety, higher standards, and in your view, it shouldn't be to the detriment of the county's appeal as a destination for development.
No, sir, I don't think so. I'll tell you, I got one job. It's pretty simple. I just got to take care of people. No matter what happens to them, I got to keep them safe. And that's all this is for. I stand to gain nothing other than confidence in knowing that I did the best of my ability to take care of the citizens and visitors of this county.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Other question, Commissioner Wooten?
Yeah, I appreciate that you brought it along as far as you had. I appreciate all of this.
Yes, sir.
Used to be an old standing rule, if you let a fire in your yard, burn leaves, you always call the sheriff's department to let somebody know that it was going to be a fire in your yard. And I went through a lot of neighborhoods, and that stopped up sewer pipes where people would blow or rake the leaves into the ditch, hoping they were going to go down, but they don't. They stop up, wash out roads and stuff like that. And is it something that you could put in there? This is your job. I'm just making a suggestion that just let the local authorities know that you are going to have a burn. That way all the neighbors wouldn't get excited and all that kind of stuff. I mean, would that be a good suggestion like it was at one time in the county?
It could be. When I first started this process a few years back, I had a burn ordinance component in there. And it was my understanding at that time that the board wasn't interested in getting in the burn ordinance business, so we took that out of there. I'd be more than glad to sit down with you and look at that burn ordinance and come up with a burn ordinance that suited what you guys wanted to see in the county and come back and present that. I would for sure. But if you look, let me see, it says reserved, the chapter for burn ordinances. Mm-hmm. So we took that out. And so the chapter number is still there for it. And since there's nothing there, I didn't take a lot of time to memorize that number. But there's a place in the code, a chapter for a burn ordinance when we get ready to address that. Yes, sir.
Thank you, Tommy.
Yes, sir.
Questions? Other questions? Go ahead, Commissioner Hersey.
Chief,
Yes, sir.
I know this has been kicked around for what, 2 years now?
At least.
A little over 3.
A little over 3.
Yes,
Yeah,
sir.
Yeah. And just to allay some fears, what you're talking about is new development.
Yes, sir.
In general for additional requirements, but those buildings that already exist are, quote, grandfathered or whatever, so.
That's right.
But let me, this is a very complicated document. And let me just go through a couple of things
Okay.
with you. I think you've clarified the business about the fire watch and the extra duty. I have no problem with that, and I think that you've done a good job of explaining that. Under fire hydrants and water mains, there are a couple of things that I think need to be corrected or clarified. First of all, the county health department does not regulate any kind of commercial buildings.
You're right.
That's up to the EPD for water systems that are public water systems, and so, you know, that particular thing needs to be, I think, changed, clarified. Eaton and Putnam Sewage and Water, well, it's the Water and Sewer Authority, but, you
I
know,
struggle with that, I'm sorry.
I know. The acronym is difficult to pronounce. I mean, I struggled with that for years. But anyway, they do not regulate water or sewer except within their own system. They don't tell Piedmont, for example, what to do. And your code really needs to do that, particularly for the water.
If I may,
Go ahead.
at the time that this document was produced, working with Eaton and Putnam Water Sewage Water, they had amended their construction standard to mimic what I was asking for at that point.
Yeah.
And Piedmont was still putting in far from that. And that's the only reason that I reference them. I understand that one is not in charge of the other. And whatever verbiage needs to be in there to
Yeah,
express that. Yes, sir.
We just need to have some clarification of that.
Yes, sir.
You know, I've got no problem with, I mean, somebody's got to oversee these entities. I mean, if you have a public water system, but it's not Piedmont and it's not EPSWA, you know, who looks after it? Well, EPD, you know.
We actually have 3 water systems in the county. Rock Eagle has its own. It's a
Right,
separate
and
entity
so
as
who
well.
regulates that? I don't know.
Yes, sir.
You know, or what they have. But coming to the pipe size, you know, I am in agreement with you about flow requirements for various things. The question is that existing pipes are largely 8-inch, and you can't flow an 8-inch pipe into a 10-inch pipe. And I don't know what we can do about that. Can we really require the providers to upgrade their mains to allow for future? We have, for example, the Phoenix Crossing subdivision, which, as you know, has an inadequate water line according to this code. And you require them to put in adequate water lines, but they're dry. You know, so we're making some exceptions to these rules. We've just approved a senior living system on Harmony Road. Are we going to require that to have a 10-inch line? I assume we are if it can be provided, but I don't know if, well, Piedmont claims they have a 10-inch line on Harmony. I don't really know if they do or don't. I don't know how close those houses are going to be, and whether they're going to, you know, meet your flow requirements or not. So one of the issues I think is going forward is the enforcement. I mean, if we approve this code section, how do we go about enforcing it if the infrastructure doesn't exist to provide the mains and whatever? Mostly rhetorical.
May I speak to that?
Please.
So, with no regulation at all, Phoenix Crossing has 2-inch water lines with no hydrants out there, so they don't have any fire protection in there. The current ordinance requires that, and a created water system or an expansion of an existing water system with the potential for 15 or more homes or 25 or more people, that fire hydrants must be put in it. So anytime that they build in that area over there, it's impossible for them to meet our current code, so a variance has to be granted. And at what point, like now, that subdivision is built, and so they can put a 48-inch main down New Phoenix if they want to, but it's not going to do anything for the people inside, because the infrastructure, just like the buildings that you spoke about, these new ordinances wouldn't pertain to infrastructure that's already there. But if we change it or upgrade it, they would have to bring that into compliance with your current code. And the more development that we allow to be put in with inadequate water infrastructure for fire and life safety, then the more that's going to have to be replaced in the future. I feel like at some point we're going to have to say this is what we're going to do from now on to make sure that we provide for the safety of the public. Does that make sense?
I mean, there's a number of situations that need to be addressed from the point of view of enforcement. I mean, we have a situation where you have a 10-inch line going into an 8-inch line going into a 10-inch line. This shouldn't be. I mean, you know, so future development or developments need to come up to meeting this code. But let me just ask a general question.
Yes, sir.
You probably know the answer to that. I mean, is it possible to get the fire flow from a undersized hydrant or main?
Well, it depends on how undersized it is.
Well,
and what the
if you
fire
want to
flow
get
is.
1,000 gallons per minute, can you get it out of an 8-inch line?
Yes. It's potentially yes. I'm not saying that every 8-inch line in Putnam County is capable of that, but some are. Yes, sir.
Yeah. So what you're really looking at is flow requirements as opposed to actual pipe size, but in your sense, let's overbuild maybe the pipe size to
I don't
make
really
sure
think
we
that
get the
there's.
flow.
I don't really think there's any overbuilt water infrastructure in Putnam County, in my opinion. I think we've built it to the minimum of what's there today, and any growth beyond that is taxing the system.
Yeah.
That's what I
Let me just move on.
Yes, sir.
It's, I don't know, section, I think it's 3221, life safety things, section something or other 8. C8, I guess it is. C, I don't know. It's a very complicated document. Under number 8B, it says single-family dwellings within a subdivision. I mean, is the exception not for all single-family dwellings?
So that's the particular section of 10,000 square foot would trigger a fire sprinkler system inside of it. And I don't have any fire sprinkler requirements for residential structures in here. So the exception would be if it's a single family residential structure that is larger than 10,000 square foot, we do not require it to be sprinkled. And there are houses in our county today that are bigger than 10,000 square foot. Yes, sir.
And how do we define a subdivision? I mean, is Sebastian Cove a subdivision?
By my definition, yes.
So
Cuskawilla, Great Waters, Water's Edge, Phoenix Crossing.
I mean, they're largely populated by single-family residences.
Yes, sir.
But some of them might be very big. Yeah.
The intent of that was just to keep us from getting into someone's single-family residential structure being required to be sprinkled, is the intent of that, to avoid that.
Okay, so
But it doesn't matter if it's in a subdivision. I think I know where you're going with that. If I bought 20 acres and built a 20,000 square foot house on it, it would not be required to be sprinkled either.
Right.
Is that what you're saying?
That's basically what.
Take the
you know,
within
the
a subdivision off of there?
I think, if we get rid of within a subdivision, just any single-family home.
Yes, sir. I'm with you now. I'm clicking.
There is, I'm not sure what section it's in, but the section about sprinklers, in hotels, et cetera, et cetera. I want to add that any short-term rental property that has an occupancy in excess of 12 individuals be included in that. I know. People frown on, quote, residences being sprinkled, but when you get to over 12 occupancy in an STR, which is what our code limit is, you're no longer talking about a residence. You're talking about a business. You're talking about a mini hotel. And I think it should be included in that section on hotels. You've already gotten rid of the reference to Henry County, I understand.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Not Gwinnett.
Neither Gwinnett. Again, under section, I guess it's C8 under, you talk about, in addition to NAFTA code, any residential occupancies containing 2 dwelling units, more than 2 dwelling units, must install an approved automatic sprinkler system. That kind of needs to be clarified with regard to the rest of our ordinance, because a dwelling is defined as something that has a kitchen in another part of our ordinance. And if you have 3 kitchens, do you have to sprinkle the residence? A kitchen being defined as I recall, as having an oven. So if you have more than 3 ovens, do you have to sprinkle the residence? Need to clarify it. I know that you have eliminated the outdoor burning part of the ordinance, but I think it is appropriate to note that the EPD does have guidelines for outdoor burning, and their S-star provisions, I think there's six rules or things that people need. It might be good to at least reference that.
Talking about the Georgia Forestry Commissions?
The Georgia Forestry Commission, or it's part of EPD, I guess. I don't know.
That's kind of what I was trying to do when I put, our
Yeah,
ordinance
I
says you
know.
got to get a permit from them already.
Yeah.
And that's what, when I put when required, would take you to that rule of 5s, which is what I believe
Well,
you're speaking
well,
of.
when you just have hand piled vegetation during the open ban or open burn provisions during the, and I don't know why we're still in the Atlanta air quality attainment area, but you know. I think people need to be aware that someone over 18 years must be at that fire at all times, that you must put out all flames by dark. I know people like to have campfires and whatever, and that's okay, but that you need to have some means of keeping the fire from spreading, shovel, hose, whatever. I think those recommendations from the forestry department or division should be referenced in here somehow. I know I've taken up this has been a long time in coming. We need to make sure that everybody understands that existing structures are not affected by this code, but we are going to improve our infrastructure with regard to fire safety going forward, and all of the buildings and whatever are going to meet these codes. Appreciate it.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Commissioner Garrett.
Just a quick thing.
Yes, sir.
So, to Mr. Vargo's questioning of definitions, so a hazardous special event, you've clarified that both of those are defined elsewhere, either in our code or I think in state code.
Yes, sir.
But it might be helpful for future readers of the code if we could add those to a list of definitions in the document, just as there's immediate reference point, rather than them having to decide, well, there's no definition, when in fact there is a definition. There may be other words in there that might merit that treatment as well.
Yes, sir.
Commissioner McElhaney.
So you say that existing structures will be grandfathered. What about if they're sold?
So the state code already requires if there's a change of occupancy, like if I buy
Occupancy or ownership?
occupancy.
Okay.
Occupancy type more specifically, which could be business, mercantile, assembly, storage. That's what the occupancy types that I refer to are. If there's a change in the occupancy classification of the building, if I buy a warehouse and I turn it into a music venue, then I've taken it from storage to assembly occupancy, which has a completely different set of life safety requirements in there, a different set of code requirements. So that would be a change of occupancy. If I bought a building that was a warehouse and I kept it as a warehouse, then it's still an existing building. It hasn't changed occupancy. Or if I'm going to keep it as the same occupancy and do renovations, if I do greater than 50% renovation, then I have to bring that building up to current code. If I just go in there and patch the sheetrock, paint the walls, maybe change the windows, less than 50% renovation, then I do not have to meet the current code. It still qualifies as an existing building. Make sense?
Yes, it does. So, and I'll say that's a kind of lenient, because if you make any renovations to any building, you must bring them under ADA code
Yes, sir.
at all. So, yeah. Okay, thank you for clarifying that. And I agree with some of Commissioner Hershey's comments as well, and Commissioner Garrett. I think if we had a little more clarity on some of this stuff, I think we can move forward. Definitions are a big help.
Yeah, okay.
Okay.
Chief, thank you very much.
Yes,
You've
sir.
done a lot here, and I know we've been a long time, but thank you. Thank you
Yes,
for
sir.
coming forward.
Thank you.
I'll ask the board, what's your position? How, is there a motion? How do you feel? Well, there's been several suggestions made of changes. We can adopt what he's done and say we're going to change it later, or we can say we're going to change it. What's your position?
Chairman, can I speak?
Yes, Commissioner Wood.
I think with all the questions and everything, and I'm the last one that wants to see something kicked down the road a little bit, but I would love to see, like, I'm planning on meeting with him about the burns in the yards and stuff like that. And if each commissioner with their concerns could come to him and they kind of mold this thing around with their concerns, I think that would be a good way to go.
So do you have a motion?
I'd like to make a motion that, not for approval, but to kind of, I'm trying to think, kick it down the road, kind of.
You're gonna table
Let's just
it?
say table it. Yeah, table it until each commissioner has a chance to get with them, and
You need to get a timing. How long are we going to be waiting? 'Cause
that's right. And let's just say, in July, that will give each commissioner, would that be a problem, Lynn? Let's do it in July. And, Chief, I would really, go after these people to come see you with their concerns. And let's get this thing whittled on out, and in July, we'll have everything going our way.
We need to say July 21st. There is no meeting, no first meeting in July because of the 4th of July.
Okay, July the 21st then. Everything should be final by then.
Is there a second to that?
Second.
We have a motion and a second on the floor. The motion is to table until the 21st of July, and in the meantime, each commissioner that has concern, or actually folks that are out in the audience, residents have concern, sit down with the chief and try to work those out, and then he will bring back a proposal for approval. Is that motion clear?
Yes, sir.
Any motion is second, discussion.
Yeah, this thing has been kicked around for, as the chief says, for 3 years now. And I think we ought to go ahead and approve the proposal as it's stated, and then the chief, in consultation with whoever, can always amend it appropriately. But I think the document as it stands right now, is a place almost, well, I'd like to say 95% there. The other 5% is going to be a little bit of clarification, a little bit of word changing perhaps, and those things can be done, I think, at a later time. But I would move not to table it, but to go ahead and approve the document as it's stated.
We have a motion and a second on the floor, and is there other discussion of that motion?
Mr. Chairman, try and find some middle ground. I worry that July 21st might be a little too much time, might lose priority. So, but I do see value in trying to refine to get that last 5% if we can, or a little closer to 100%. So I would amend the motion to have Chief come back with final changes by our first June meeting, whenever that is.
Let's check the June meeting. I'm sorry,
June 5th.
June 5th or June 16th?
We can make it June 16th if that's more amenable.
Okay.
Just a little more urgency might be helpful to get it over the line. You on vacation? Okay, all right. Well, then maybe, I think June 5th then.
June 5th?
Well,
Well, I mean, you're making an alternate motion.
Chairman, I've got no problem with the date, but he can call me and I'll be there. But trying to schedule all this stuff around 3 more people other than me, that's the reason I set it out to July. And that way, and around his schedule also. So, I'll do whatever y'all want to do. I mean, but I just throw July out there to give everybody plenty of time to get it done. Because we're looking at the vacation season right now, and everybody can go home and put it on the calendar, and their wife won't be fussing at them about, you got to go to a meeting when we on vacation. That's all I was trying to do with the longevity of it.
Well, we have the alternate motion. We haven't had a second yet. Is there a second?
We're talking about an amended motion.
An amended motion.
When did you amend it? June 5th. Second.
Okay, the amended motion is to table until June 5th. I have that correct. We have a motion and a second. Is there further discussion? Hearing none, we'll call for the question, and this will be a verbal vote. And so you understand the amended motion? Mm-hmm. Okay. And then how do you vote, District 1?
Nay.
2?
Aye.
3?
Aye.
4?
Nay.
We have a tie. And because I think it is vacation time, and I didn't get a chance to really talk about it, I agree with the tabling, but I'm going to vote nay because I think we need longer. That's the only reason. I think it's a good motion, except I think we need more time because of vacations, no other reason. So I will vote nay. So the amended motion fails. We're back to the original motion. And that is, the original motion is to table until July the 21st. And that's the second meeting, and that's only because there's not a first meeting in July. We have a motion and a second. We've had discussion, so we can vote. We can vote electronically. Please vote electronically. Voting is complete. The ayes have it. District 1 votes yea, District 2 yea, District 3 nay, and District 4 yea. Motion carries, and this will be tabled and brought back on July the 21st. Thank you, and thank you, Chief.
Thank you, Chief.
We'll move along our regular business meeting, and first thing up is public comments. Lynn? I believe I have the sheet, the blue sheet, correct? And under public comments, Charles Gray has the first one to speak. Got 3 minutes, Charles.
Charles Gray. Saturday, I attended a pickleball tournament for the first time, and I believe the organization is the Putnam County Pickleball Club. I might have that wrong, but nevertheless, they held a fundraising tournament at the rec center. They used the existing tennis courts and modified them with nets and tapes that they brought to fit pickleball size play. The restroom facilities they used were the 2 portalets that were at the tennis court area. They were clean, but they're very old. There was no hand washing facility for them, so I provided personally a hand washing facility for them. And there was probably about 100 people there, so 100 people using portalets and no hand washing facilities, not very good hygiene. But I came to realize, I talked to a lot of people, that pickleball is not a fad. It's here to stay. And it's amazing to see these people play these tournaments. And they came from other counties into Putnam County to do this. And as you all know, we currently don't have a pickleball facility. I know there's one in the process, planning in certain locations. Cost has already been, there's funds been allocated for it, but it's taken a very long time, and it would be nice to expedite some of these things. This organization raised for the Lake Oconee Humane Society $10,800 during this one tournament. So they are bringing great benefits to Putnam County. It's a great organization, and I'd really like to see expedited effort to get them a facility where they can have more tournaments, have more play, increased size of their club, and bring people into Putnam County for these tournaments. Was going to help us with tourism. It's going to help the economy. I see all these pluses. I don't see any negatives. So I think it's something I'd really like to see expedited. Thank you.
Thank you. Next on the list is Sue Malone, and I apologize. The ink sort of failed, and my eyes aren't the best. So, Sue, if I can call you Sue.
Yes, surely. Thank you. I live on Thomas Drive in Putnam County, and I'm here to speak in opposition of the rock quarry. I feel this is a great concern for not only Putnam County, but to anybody with property on Lake Sinclair. The effects the quarry will not just jeopardize the water and living conditions in Putnam County, but the lake as a whole. We bought our property in 2006. We chose Lake Sinclair because it offered a quiet, clean, and safe living atmosphere. Never would we have thought we would be threatened with a rock quarry on our beautiful lake area. Not once, but twice in the span of a few years. I don't think this is what the tax-paying residents of Putnam County want. Why would the elected officials of this county even consider jeopardizing the integrity of this beautiful resource that produces huge tax income for Putnam County? And not only the condition of the lake, but the condition of the air we breathe and the roads we travel every day. So many of our roads are already in poor shape. All this heavy truck and equipment traffic will only make that problem worse. People are fighting everywhere to keep their air quality safe, and here we are threatened with the possibility of our clean air and quiet lifestyle being contaminated by something our elected officials could put a stop to. I love this lake, and I love the life it provides for me and all the owners that have lake property and all the owners that have property in this county. I would ask all of you to consider the result this quarry will cause, not just for now, but for years to come. Please stand with the citizens that voted you into office and stop this quarry now and forever. Thank you.
Thank you. Next on the list is Pam Peacock. Pam?
Good evening. Lake Sinclair exudes a charming simplicity with a focus on laid-back hospitality and natural beauty. Visitors explore the lake's tranquil waters while immersing themselves in the serene surroundings, and its natural beauty is unmatched. Quarrying is not a short-term inconvenience. It reshapes the physical environment, the health of nearby communities, and the long-term stability of the land. The risks extend well beyond the boundaries of the extraction site, and they do not disappear when operations end. Dust is not just a nuisance, it's a serious health threat. Long-term exposure to silica dust can cause silicosis, an irreversible and progressive lung disease that can be fatal in advanced stages. Once airborne, silica dust can travel far beyond the quarry boundary, affecting workers and nearby residents alike. Quarries rely on heavy machinery, explosives, and fuel storage, all of which introduce contamination risk when fuel and hydraulic leaks occur. Explosive residues can seep into soil and groundwater. These contaminants create toxic conditions for workers, wildlife, and surrounding communities. While proper handling protocols exist, they are often inconsistently implemented. Blasting operations and heavy machinery generate constant, high-decibel noise. Nearby residents experience chronic noise disturbance that affects sleep, stress level, and overall well-being. Air quality declines rapidly during quarry operation, and wind patterns can carry pollutants into nearby neighborhoods, schools, and farms. The ecological footprint of the quarry extends far beyond the pit itself. Wildlife habitats are fragmented or destroyed. Water tables can be disrupted, affecting wells and streams. Dust and runoff can damage crops and vegetation in surrounding areas. This is not just a Putnam County issue. Baldwin County residents will feel the effects as well. Environmental boundaries do not follow county lines. Air, water, and ecosystems are shared. Commissioners approving this quarry means accepting long-term risk that will outlast the economic benefits. Putnam and Baldwin citizens are interconnected, and decisions made here will shape the health, safety, and environment of both communities. Being a good neighbor means protecting not just your own residents, but your next-door residents as well.
Thank you. The final is Bill Vargo. Bill?
I got a couple things to say. I want to congratulate Paul on his retirement. I know we've had some differences of opinions from time to time and bumped some heads, but I hope he didn't take it personally. But I want to congratulate you. I don't know how many years you've been here, Paul, but it's been a good bit of time. And I wish you well in your new ventures if you don't decide to go fishing at the lake and stay home. Thank you. The 250th Voices and Votes interview was on Fox 5 News the other day, and they presented a very good walkthrough of the setup down here that the Smithsonian did in the BOC office, and there was quite a bit talked about and people interviewed. It was a good bit, so don't forget about going there, and it looks like it'd be very interesting. And the last thing I want to say is the early voting starts very soon. Get out and vote. Thank you.
Thank you, Bill. And that concludes the public comments. Next on the agenda is the consent agenda, item number 8. Item number 8 consists of approval of the minutes for March 17th, 2026 regular meeting, approval of minutes March 17th executive session, approval of the 2026 alcohol license, and I believe, let's see, is there 2? Only 1. Okay, there's only 1 on there, and it's been approved by all the folks. D is authorization for the chairman to sign the agreement for Section 5311 Transit Operation, Small and Large Capital and Mobility Management between GDOT and Putnam County. And that is all. Those are the 4 items. Do I hear a motion?
Move that we approve the consent agenda.
Is there a second? Second. We have a motion and a second to approve the consent agenda. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, then I will call for the electronic vote. Voting is complete. Districts 1, 2, 3, and 4 vote aye. The consent agenda is approved, and I'll be happy to sign the transit bill. Number 9. Number 9 is authorization for the chairman to sign memorandum of understanding with Putnam General Hospital authorizing the purchase of a CT scanner and no other purchase. I believe that Dr. Stennett and Dr. Bennett are here. Alan Horton is here, and I'm sorry, Pam. Pam is here also. And would one of you like to come and tell about the equipment?
I'm Alan Horton. I'll kick the meeting or the discussion off and then turn it over to our physicians. But last year we came to the County Commission meeting to talk about our capital needs during the discussion of SPLOST number 10. At the time, the County Commission approved our request for funding for SPLOST number 10, and there was one item that was left off of that request. We had applied for a grant through the State Office of Rural Health for a $500,000 grant to purchase equipment for one of our operating rooms so that we could recruit an orthopedic surgeon to come and do surgery at Putnam General Hospital. We were fairly confident that we were going to have that grant approved. As it turned out, the grant was not approved. It was a competitive grant, and we did not receive the $500,000. Because we did not receive that, there was a recommendation from the commission that SPLOST number 9 funds, surplus funds, be used to fund that request to purchase orthopedic equipment. Since that time, the State Office of Rural Health has received additional funding. The One Big Beautiful Bill Act granted capital funds to all the states to provide rural health care in the various states. So the State Office of Rural Health has now gone back, and they've approved our request to for that grant to purchase orthopedic equipment. So what we want to propose to the commission is, since there's $500,000 that we now have another funding source, would like to spend that money to purchase a replacement CT scanner at the hospital. And Dr. Bennett and Dr. Stinson are here to talk about the medical needs of that equipment.
I am a fishing pole. Last time I was here, I said I knew how to fish. I don't have a fishing pole. The whole point was that we're going to feed ourselves, become independent, turn our critical access hospital into a medical center that's independent, that we can support ourselves and also support our county and the people in it. So that's why we said, we had this idea, orthopedic equipment. As he explained, that all shifted, and we got that grant now. So he said we have a CT replacement. This is not a CT replacement. This is a revenue generator. So in 2025, CMS, that is the body that says how much money Medicare is going to reimburse us, they doubled the amount of money they're going to reimburse us for cardiac CTs. Dr. Stinson, you want to come talk a little more about that? So from $157, they've doubled up to $360 per patient. What this is talking about is, we talked a lot about pipes tonight, different size of pipes, 8 inches, 10 inches. We're talking about the coronary pipes that are around the heart. So you can actually do a CAT scan now with this new advanced CT scanner that will let you look at, it's like doing a cardiac cath. So instead of having to get a big wire up your heart, your leg, up into your heart to see what's going on, you can actually just do a CAT scan and see if you've actually had a real heart attack or what's going on. And so that outpatient study would bring in, like I said, $350 each. So over the course of a year, if you do one a day, that's $150,000 right there, not coming out of our patients' pockets, but the insurance, the Medicare.
So basically, what I'm passing out, when you guys look at this, what do you see? Well, I see a heart. So that is the aortic. That is the aorta and all the cardiac vessels. This is not just a CT scanner. This thing has AI. What you see is that the artificial intelligence has removed the soft tissue. So it allows the radiologist to quickly look at the coronary vessels. Earlier today, I was discussing it with some of the audience members. This new CT will do a virtual colonoscopy. Nobody wants to have a colonoscopy. Between the age of 45 and 75, we should have a colonoscopy Q10 years if it's normal. This new CT allows us to do a non-invasive procedure, and if it's normal, it's good for 5 years. So it will replace a lot of invasiveness, things like that. In addition to this, Dr. Nicholas Cronus out at the lake has been wanting to do some coronary artery scans without being invasive, like a diagnostic PCI, right? This machine will do that. This machine will allow us to look at the coronary vessels. So it's like doing a PCI without getting poked. And if there was a stenosis or something like that, then we would set them up for the interventional cardiac cath. I brought up Dr. Kronos because he's got over 7,000 patients in his clinic, and those patients will be coming to Putnam General. So I see the community and the county benefiting from that.
We don't have a GI doctor.
Come over to the mic, please.
Sorry.
So we don't have a GI doctor in this county. So if somebody needs a colonoscopy, you're going up to Athens or you're going down to Macon, and you're having to wait. You know, it can be rather time intensive and burdensome. And you don't have to have a GI doctor order this CT colonoscopy. You know, Dr. Stinson can order it. Dr. Kumar, Dr. Phillips, anybody can order this, and so it's going to find cancers earlier, much easier, less invasive. And then for the chest pain patients that come into our emergency room, we're not having to send somebody out, say, well, your blood work was okay, but you still might be at risk for a heart attack. This CAT scan can tell us that in minutes. And the other really cool thing about it is, those are ways that it can pay for itself, and we're going to have our fishing pole. But another cool thing is about safety. It's so much faster. So if you come in, you're having a stroke, time is brain, you're in my emergency room, I can find out, I'm talking about from hours to minutes now, but the plumbing, the pipes, to go from that feeding your brain, are they plugged up or not? We can tell that with so much, because of the AI that's able to help the radiologist. Also, it has radiation reduction, so the little kids coming in getting CAT scans for looking for appendicitis and things like that, we're drastically reducing about 60% the amount of radiation that we're exposing the children to. So it's a safety issue too. It's really, this is like I said, it's not just a CT replacement. This is an absolute revenue generator and upgrade, and will benefit the entire county.
The current will do how many slices, like 16? And this will do 160 something?
Right. So for being able to find pancreatic cancer, like pancreatic head mass, which is pretty much incurable, you need high definition slices. This is gonna be able to find that too. So.
Hey, gentlemen, questions? Commissioner Hersey.
First, a clarification. There is an excellent GI physician in Morgan County, operates out of Morgan Memorial.
Dr. Sokolov.
Yeah.
Dr. Sokolov has a 12-month non-compete still left on his
Well,
wonderful
I don't care about non-compete. It's just up the road, and I just want to make sure that you don't have to go to Athens or Macon or Atlanta to get a colonoscopy. I have done that. There's no question in my mind that this is a valuable piece of equipment. I mean, it's a super modern piece of equipment and can be most useful, and in addition, a revenue generator. I know as a physician, you understand that people can't just walk in out of the street and get it done and paid for out of insurance or Medicare. I mean, it has to be prescribed by a physician of some type, general practitioner usually, and there has to be a reason behind that referral. So, you know, whether it's family history or age or whatever, it has to be referred. So it's not universally available to everyone.
To correct
but
one thing on that, you
Yeah.
can actually walk in off the street and get this. So
well, yeah, if you want to pay for it.
No, sir. So I think I saw 5 people with chest pain yesterday. Transferred one of them out because they needed to get further studies that we couldn't provide at our hospital. So they were transferred up to Athens.
Wow.
We could actually keep that patient in our hospital, get this cardiac CT, and then have avoided that transfer, and they could have stayed here and saved that money. They would have saved money that way.
I can tell you that Medicare would not pay for,
Okay, well,
unless it's referred by another physician.
I have the authority to order a cardiac CT from the emergency room for cardiac workup and have Medicare pay for it. I can guarantee that.
Well, but you are a
I'm
referring physician.
I'm the ER physician.
Yeah,
Yes, sir.
right. So
you can walk in.
You can write the script.
You can walk in off the street with chest pain and cardiac elevations. You have to have you can't just say I want it done. You have to have chest pain, and I have to have concern that you might be having a heart attack, and I can order it for you. And if you can't afford to pay for it, we already have lots of indigent patients that we take care of that we don't then make them pay for this. We write off patient bills all the time.
Okay. So the question for me is, it's $500,000. Is that $622,000? Where could we spend that $622,000? I mean, we've allocated in SPOS number 10, $3 million or so money to the hospital. I don't believe, maybe I can ask the county manager, do we have a contract with the hospital authority in terms of the percentage of SPOS collections not to exceed some number?
I don't know off the top of my head. I'm asking Adam. I mean, we send up SPOS 10. This is not being paid with SPOS 10, so I mean, that's...
I understand. Do we have an agreement in SPOS 9?
That's a lawyer question. He's got to look.
So this money was
I mean, the issue for me, Paul, is that the hospital authority is an independent authority, and we need to have a contract with them specifying a certain percentage of the SPOS collections up to a limit of a certain dollar figure, and I think we did for SPOS number 9.
And I think we did for 10, because we had this very conversation of, if we had a shortfall of collections, they would get whatever that prorated share was up to the amount of the collections. I
Right.
remember us discussing that both times.
But
But
do we?
you're asking me off the top of my head at 9 or 7:30, and it's the first I'm hearing the question. I don't have anything in front of me to look.
So the money was
7:30.
already approved for the
Is it past
ortho
your
equipment.
bedtime?
And so all we're asking is, instead of spending on orthopedic equipment, we use it for a CT scan.
I-
And you have to understand, Dr. Stinson and I don't financially benefit from this. Like, our paychecks will not change.
I understand, Doctor.
Yeah.
The question for me is that we have, or should have, an agreement with the hospital authority that we will provide a certain percentage of the SPOS collections up to a certain limit, and you are, as a hospital authority, able to use that money fungibly. I mean, if you don't have to replace an air conditioner, maybe you can buy a CT scanner. If you don't have to buy ortho equipment, I don't know what was on that list, because you got the grant, well, you don't have to use that money for ortho equipment. You can use it for a CT scanner, whatever. The question is that to be fiscally responsible here, we have to say, okay, we have allocated to you some approximately $3 million of SPOS 10 money. We allocated originally a certain amount of dollar figure for SPOS number 9, and you're asking us to exceed that agreement.
Sir, no, sir.
No.
We had $500,000 that was allocated for a ortho equipment. We're saying we don't need the $500,000 for the ortho equipment because President Trump and the big
What,
beautiful bill that
excuse me, sir. And I understand. Well, you represent the company selling the CT scanner, or?
No,
I'm
it's just,
Dr. Stinson, I'm the hospital.
Oh, okay.
I'm the local physician, sir.
All
This will
right.
benefit our community.
I'm sorry.
No worries.
I haven't met you, and you know, it is a pleasure.
we're your two doctors at Putnam General, and, you know, Proverbs 31:8 says, give a voice to those without a voice. We are trying to be that voice.
I
A voice to the
understand that.
community.
What I'm saying is that there's been agreements for SPOS number 9, or should have been, and for SPOS number 10, and the money allocated under those two SPOS collections are fungible as far as I'm concerned. I mean, the hospital authority can allocate that money. You don't need our agreement.
Okay, great.
Can we move along? Commissioner Garrett, you have a question.
Well, I want to speak to what I think Commissioner Hersey's referring to and just see if we can tidy that up. But let me just ask some clarifying questions about the equipment. It sounds great. So I just want to clarify, are we saying that this piece of equipment is not available in any neighboring county? Is that correct?
Not with the artificial intelligence, sir.
Right. So it's a higher spec than whatever version they have. And then the throughput that's possible on something like this, is this something you can use twice a day, 10 times a day? Does it depend on the condition?
So I do a whole body scan in seconds.
Okay. So it's pretty high throughput productivity. Okay. And then is it something that's going to be just as valuable in 2 years' time, 5 years' time? What's the end of life, would you say, for something like this?
CMS, you know, our governing body has seen the value of this type of technology and being able to do a CT scan, which is why, just basically instead of doing a heart cath, which was why they doubled. They usually cut funds. They actually doubled funds for this type of equipment. And that's not coming off the table. That's an increase that's going to be there for years.
Because that suggests they see efficiencies. They're going to save money elsewhere by spending money
It's a
here.
non-invasive way to get that information.
Right. Quicker diagnosis, prevention.
Exactly.
Okay. So what I think Commissioner Hersey is pointing to, and I hadn't realized it till I looked at this, my understanding of this agreement is that it refers to over collections in SPLOS 9.
That's correct.
Correct? So the original intergovernmental agreement we had with the hospital pertaining to SPLOS 9, yes, I think had had a cap because it was, I was before my time, but I do remember a dollar cap, and I think there's a dollar cap in the SPLOST 10 referendum that passed pertaining to the hospital. What this is a discrete document that pertains to SPLOST 9 over collection. But what I know, unless I'm missing it, is it doesn't actually say that in here. It doesn't refer to, it just talks about SPLOST, not SPLOST 9, not over collections. So perhaps if we, unless I'm misunderstanding, perhaps if we added in those clarifications,
So-
it would clarify that this is in effect an addendum to an exiting SPLOST round. Because it just talks about SPLOST, not SPLOST number anything.
So it is SPLOST 9, sir.
Yeah, it
is-
references in the second whereas, it dates it, October 1st, 2019. So that's your SPLOST 9 reference.
Well, I understand there's a date there, but since we talk in SPLOST number X, Y,
You could put.
I think it
there
might
SPLOST
be
9.
helpful just
That'd be
to
fine. If you wanted
specify
to
it.
Put in parentheses.
Not
after
everyone
the-
remembers the
I didn't until we
referendum
looked,
dates.
so. And we're still looking, but I believe there is a SPLOST 10 IGA. I have the Word document. We're looking for when the commission adopted it, but that would have been done sometime in 2025.
So I think if this could refer to the 9 document and perhaps the 10, if it made sense, use 9, then I think that's the ambiguity you were pointed to.
It needs to say SPLOST 9, I believe. Because it's over collection of SPLOST 9.
If we were to put in parentheses after October 1st, 2019, SPLOST 9, I believe that
Yeah,
would
and refer
satisfy.
to over collection and the original intergovernmental agreement for SPLOST 9. I think that would clarify it.
And this is capital equipment, so it's eligible. Okay, I believe Commissioner Wooten has asked for the floor.
I just want to thank y'all. And I know people here get tired of me saying this, but I'm a lifelong resident, 5th generation. I got a 6th generation and a 7th generation coming on. And for y'all to take it upon yourselves to come here and help us with the hospital. I know y'all got y'all put in a lot of time, and that's really appreciated, man. I cannot put a value, a monetary value on life. There's a fella in a wheelchair today. He was in a wreck. Walked in, just looking, and if we'd had that then, he'd probably be walking. And that's what we're looking at. We're looking at the quality of life that we can provide to people. And I got another friend. It was, they had life flight him out to Athens to get this kind of thing done. And he had a big old blood clot going into his heart. And this probably could have been done, something could have been done here, but it wasn't done here. And he was within probably, I'm going to say an hour and a half of dying. So I'm just going to tell you that out front and outright. If I can see my way to get y'all this money, I'm going to do it. Because I'm close to the hospital. Remember when it wasn't a hospital. So I just wanted to say that, and we appreciate y'all. Thank you.
Commissioner McElhaney.
Yes, thank you. Thank you, gentlemen. Absolutely wonderful presentation. I fully support this. So, Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion that we authorize the chairman to sign the memorandum of understanding with Putnam General Hospital authorizing the purchase of a CT scanner and no other purpose with the changes that Commissioner Garrett
And surplus.
and surplus.
9.
SPLOST number 9 and reference surplus funds.
Second.
We have a motion and a second on the floor. Is there discussion?
Let me just,
Commissioner Hersey, you're
yeah,
recognized.
just ask Paul, I know it's late for you, and this might be off the top of your head, but how much extra over collections of SPOS 9 do we have?
There's about 1.9 million sitting in the account. So you're gonna look at,
And
you're gonna
we
look
have-
at this month, you're gonna look at a piece of fire apparatus and an ambulance remount next month. So we're gonna try to get that account closed, hopefully in the next 60 to 90 days.
So, do we have $500,000 to spare in that?
Yes, sir.
So you got, 1.9 and $500,000 for this,
Takes it to 1.4.
or actually 600,000.
So,
for
no,
this.
they only get a 500,000. So wherever the delta is not not our issue. So we'll have about 1.4 million left. I'm looking at an ambulance remount for about 400 or 300,000, a new ambulance for about 400,000, and a piece of fire apparatus that should get that account pretty close to empty. So we are currently
Getting
in
a piece
SPOS
of fire
10.
equipment for less than $1 million?
Yeah, and it'll be here in 2031. You don't want to fall behind. That's a double-edged sword. So you got to get them when you can, and you got to hope that nobody wrecks them, breaks them, runs into them because they're not sitting on the shelf. So we have to be proactive in getting this stuff solved.
But this contribution would exceed the cap for SPOS number 9 for the hospital.
And you can overspend certain accounts too, and that's what you're doing with board approval. You can overspend a line item for something like this.
But with the hospital authority, we're supposed to have a contract that they cannot exceed.
I believe the IGA exists, because we had talked about it, and we set up that percentage of collections would mirror a certain dollar figure up to, and I want to say, I thought it was $1 million, but
I think it was $1 million in SPOS number 9, but, we're greatly exceeding that. Thank
Commissioner McElhaney? And Commissioner Garrett? No other questions, and I'll call for the question, and that's you to vote electronically. We're correcting the language, I think.
Perfect. I'll read it, and you'll have to believe me. This is what it says. Article 2 will be amended to say, the county and the authority agree the terms of this agreement shall amend any previous agreement between the parties for the distribution of funds from SPOS 9 to include additional funds in the amount of $500,000, which shall be limited to the CT scanner to be distributed from collection of SPOS 9 funds. And included the parentheses at the date in the second whereas to include SPOS 9.
Are we good? Yep. I'll ask you to vote electronically.
Chairman, the motion is?
The motion is to approve, or it's to authorize the chairman to sign a memorandum of understanding with Putnam General Hospital authorizing the purchase of a CT scanner and no other purpose. And it'll have the one you've read, and this has been added in to the agreement.
Is that part of the motion, or?
That's part of the motion.
All
That's
right.
what I'll be signing if you approve. We good? Vote electronically. Voting is complete. Districts 1, 2, 3, and 4 vote aye, and I'll be more than happy to sign. I want to say thank you to each and every one of you. And what a great tool, what a great group of physicians. Thank you, guys. I appreciate you being here in Putnam County. God bless both of you.
It's our pleasure to be your safety net.
Let me just say congratulations to Mr. Horton. I believe you're retiring? Enjoy yourself.
Thank you, gentlemen.
And Pam, thank you. I mean, Pam always takes care of us when we go to the hospital. Moving along to item number 10. This is the approval of employee insurance benefits. And Jonathan, I believe, is here. We normally do this down at Savannah, and it's wonderful that we can do it here today. I didn't recognize Jonathan. He's lost a lot of weight. But welcome, Jonathan, and please proceed.
Thank you again for having me here. Again, my name is Jonathan Shaw with NFP. Very honored and privileged to serve as y'all's benefits consultant, and happy to say this is actually going to be a very simple presentation. Got good news, for everyone this year, in that, we are going to have no increase to our health insurance. Are going to be able to maintain the same 2 plan options for our employees through Anthem, Blue Cross Blue Shield. Still have that same $50,000 fund to put into our wellness program to help go towards prevention, early detection, to help reduce and mitigate future claims, which will help control our cost in the future. To get that, the one change I am recommending tonight is a change in our dental carrier. Right now, our dental insurance carrier is actually United Healthcare. United Healthcare proposed an increase of 9.5%, which equates to about a $16,000 increase for that coverage. Anthem was able to issue a proposal matching the same 2 plan designs at a $10,000 increase. Essentially, it gets us to about 6.4%. But if we add the dental with Anthem, they are going to reduce our health insurance premium by a little over $50,000, which gets us to that net zero. All other benefits we offer listed on the agenda tonight are not up for renewal. There is no increase, no change to any of those coverages. So, much different than previous meetings we've had in Savannah, which have been very long, drawn out, very difficult. Increases. Happy to say, we're able to keep the plan stable, keep it budget neutral, and keep our health insurance costs stable for another year. So again, my only recommendation tonight is that we do change the dental carrier from United Healthcare to Anthem, and keep all other benefits the same.
Thank you, Jonathan. Paul, do you have any comments before I ask for questions?
After the last couple of years, thank God.
Praise Jesus.
Gentlemen, questions? Go ahead. Commissioner Garrett.
So, Jonathan, this is good news, and I mistook that 53,000 as an increase, but you're saying that explain it, that 53,000 under medical.
Very good. So if we were to keep our dental insurance with United Healthcare, we would be receiving a 1.5% increase from Anthem. But they do what's called a packaging discount. So by adding the dental with Anthem, that reduces our health insurance by 1.5%, which brings us to zero.
Okay, so just a consolidation benefit. Everything's with Anthem, and we get that reward, as it were.
Correct. And Anthem is the most competitive dental proposal as well. So it's a win-win scenario in that regard.
Okay, and just for curiosity's sake, why is it this year that we're able to get no increase? I mean, everything else needs to be going up around the economy. What's different this time?
Better claims performance. With you being a fully insured plan, it's all a relationship from the premium you've paid in versus the claims that the carrier has paid out. The previous 2 years, you've been well over a 100% loss ratio. So United Healthcare 2 years ago, and even going into last year, lost a significant amount of money, which led to higher premiums the last 2 years. This year, again, through March, y'all are running at about 70%, which is still a little bit immature because there is some lag with, how long it takes for the medical claims to, get filed and paid. But it's just, you had a good claims year, right? So
Okay, so it's less about external factors, it's more about the relative health of our staff over this past 12 months.
Correct. Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
And I know, if I remember last year when we met in Savannah, you talked about the benefits of the wellness program.
Yes, sir.
Would you draw any connection between that program and the performance?
100%. Again, that's really the only strategy we can have to be proactive in getting out in front of, a high-cost claimant. One of the biggest challenges we have with our demographics is incentivizing folks to get that preventive exam, right? And they call it preventive medicine for a reason. You can get out in front of, pre-diabetes from turning into, type 2 diabetes. You can control blood pressure, cholesterol with a prescription medication in lieu of it becoming a heart attack, someone needing that CT scan, that, coming into the hospital with chest pain. So certainly, those definitely correlate and most definitely have a positive impact, which is why, Anthem gives that $50,000 fund, because they know they're investing basically in a reduction in, future risk.
It's quite powerful, because I think it's a reminder that we as individuals do have some control over our healthcare costs in this respect. I mean, we're only an individual, but if as a collective we can encourage each other to get checks, exercise, eat well, it can show up not only in health benefit for you, but actually managed costs. So I know, we'll see where we are next year, but it's a great story. I appreciate that. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Other questions? Commissioner Hersey?
Two quick questions. I assume that the formulary will be provided to the employees.
The formulary changes every quarter, so everybody has
Quarter.
Yes, sir. Formularies are updated every quarter by your PBM, which in this case is Ingenio RX, which is Anthem's.
Yeah.
But yes, sir.
But as I understand this brochure, there are two different formularies. One is an essential or basic formulary, and another.
It's the same formulary, so they're both on the essential formulary. With the base plan, essentially you just have coverage for generics, right? Whereas if you have brand name or specialty type medications, that's why the county makes that buy-up plan available. Folks do pay in to have access to, those higher cost medications. And again, that's
but you have to upgrade your whole health insurance to get to that other formulary. Is that correct?
That's an accurate statement.
Yeah. Let me ask you another general question. What has been the response of the employees for the current? Are employees happy with the program? Are they unhappy with the program, or do you have any idea?
We have our HR director. Would you like to answer that?
Good afternoon. Yes, the employees are very happy with the insurance, and they're going to be happier when we get Anthem with the dental, because that way they'll have one car. They won't have to worry about having two cars. They're extremely happy. No complaints.
But I have a supplement, Medicare supplement with United Healthcare, so both the dental
Any other questions?
Any other questions? We thank you, Cynthia. I appreciate it. Jonathan, or does anyone have any other questions? Jonathan, we thank you for coming, and I'll entertain a motion. The motion would be to approve the employee insurance benefit with changing the dental to Anthem.
So moved.
Is there a second? Second. We have a motion and a second on the floor. Is there further discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote electronically. Voting is complete. Districts 1, 2, 3, and 4 vote aye. We now have approval of our employee insurance benefit plan.
Thank you all
Thank you very much.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. And a good presentation, Jonathan. Thank you for all your hard work. Yes, sir. Item number 11, approval of right-of-way permit requested by AT&T for work on Scott Road. Randy is here. You may want to pull the mic down.
Every time. Okay, good evening. This is some easy ones, good. All right. Are we ready?
You got the picture of where this is to be and all? There we go.
So this is for Scott Road at Lena Lane to Harmony. Job description. AT&T to overlash or place approximately 2,848 feet of aerial fiber internet cable to proposed and existing electrical utility strand and place guy anchors within 60-foot county right-of-way. The bond does not cover patchwork of road because it is an aerial installation. It will not require boring of roads because it is an aerial installation. Road will not need to be closed for installation. No crane or boom lifting device or scaffolding to be used on site. There are no sidewalks involved that would need to be modified. Proposed work area is located along Scott Road from Lena Lane to intersection of Scott Road and Harmony Road. Appropriate signage and traffic control measures to be utilized to assist with safety while work is being performed, and aerial clearance, a minimum of 18 feet crossing Lena Lane and 15 foot 6 inches across driveways on Scott Road. This service is intended to service existing homes in the Scott Road Lena Lane corridor and the new Stillwater subdivision.
Thank you, Randy. Commissioner Hersey, this is in the 3rd District, so do you have a motion?
First, yeah, the 15-foot clearance on driveways seems a bit low.
Typically, it's 13, so that's actually high.
Yeah, but, well.
And that's minimum of 15.
I gather this is just a service of Stillwater
And
Development.
it's tied in, yes, it's
much,
all the same thing, just the other side of the road. We did
Yeah.
a couple months ago, the other side of the road.
And does.
And this is
does Tri-
lashing onto what's already there. existing.
Does Trico Go also service that area?
Yes, it does.
And are they aerial?
It's Spectrum, I believe it. Trico is on Tri-County's utility line, so yes, that's Trico.
Yeah. So
Tri-County
it's aerial as well.
Correct.
Yeah. Competition is wonderful.
You gonna make a motion? It's your district. You want to make the motion?
Well, I move to approve the right-of-way permit request by AT&T for work on Scott Road.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion and a second on the floor. Do we have any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote electronically. Voting is complete. Districts 1, 2, 3, and 4 vote aye. The approval of right-of-way permit request by AT&T for work on Scott Road is granted. Item number 12 is once again approval of right-of-way permit, and this is requested by AT&T, and this is for work on Harmony Road. Randy?
Yes, this is near 899 Harmony Road and Harmony Lane. Job description is AT&T proper to overlash approximately 1,263 feet of copper cable to existing aerial, including the 25-foot down pole, and to trench 230 feet of buried copper cable near 899 Harmony Road at a depth of 24 inches. Cable total of 1,493 feet. AT&T will not close street to work. AT&T will be responsible for traffic control, and restore any pre-construction condition and do locates for other utilities located in the public right-of-way of 80 feet. This permit will not require patchwork to road or boring. Road will not need to be closed, and there is no sidewalk to be affected or modified.
Commissioner McElhaney, this is in District 4. Do you have a motion?
Yes, sir. I move that we.
District 1 or District 4?
I'm sorry, District 1. I'm sorry.
I knew
It's
where it
District-
was.
It's District
I
1.
wanted to
It's
listen to
Commissioner
that.
McElhaney.
Not you,
I'm just
Commissioner.
confused.
All right now.
It's District 1.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion we approve the right-of-way permit request by AT&T for work on Harmony Road.
Is there a second?
Second.
The motion on the floor is to approve right-of-way permit requested by AT&T for work on Harmony Road. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for the question and request you vote electronically. Voting is complete. Districts 1, 2, 3, and 4 vote aye. The approval is granted, or the right-of-way permit is for the request for AT&T for work on Harmony Road. Moving along to item 13. This is authorization for the chairman to sign the final plat for Plantation Pines Phase 4. Lisa, I believe you're here to talk about that.
Yes, this is the final phase of their development of the industrial park. This is consists of the final 7 lots. And we've done the final plat inspection. All entities have signed off on their final plat, and the final plat is ready to be signed with you having an amendment.
Mr. Chairman, there was one issue. This parcel's gone in phases, and we are relatively certain that a surety bond has been filed for the roads. There's a portion of the roads that would be constructed in this phase. I would ask that your motion include a contingency on confirming that those bonds are still in place.
Okay, a contingency.
This is a performance bond for the roads to be constructed.
Right, under section...
I mean, Lisa, have all the permits been given to the entire development?
Yes, they've done the bonds. They've done the surety bonds on the the 1 through 3 phase, and we just need to double check to make sure that that bond is in place for this one.
For the
for the fourth
phase
one.
4.
Yes.
Right, it's 2866B3. It is a requirement that a surety bond be kept in place for 2 years for the roads. And we know we had one, the first portion of the roads that were built, confirmation would be necessary to make sure that surety bond's still in place. So up to the first roundabout,
Right.
we know we had, and the confirmation would be for the remainder servicing lots 9 through
14. No,
9 through
14.
15.
Yeah.
15.
9 through 15.
I didn't see
9
the,
through
yeah, there is 15.
What? What?
It's lot 9 through 15. Okay, now I have a question. I can't sign this until you, if they say yay, I can't sign this until you say we have the surety bond in place, correct?
That would be the motion, just to make sure. And if we have a problem with the surety bond, we'll be back.
All right.
I want to make sure everybody understood that I will not sign if it's passed. Very good. Thank you, Lisa.
You're welcome.
Jeff, this is in your district, so do I have a motion? Turn your mic on.
I make a motion that authorize the chairman to sign the final plat for Plantation Pines Phase 4 with the conditions that has been presented that they check on the bond.
The surety bond is in
The surety
place.
bond.
Everybody understand the motion? Is there a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there a discussion? Hearing none, I'll ask you to vote electronically. Voting is complete. Districts 1, 2, 3, and 4 vote aye, and I will be happy to sign as soon as the surety bond has been, I've been assured that the surety bond is there. Moving to number 14. This is authorization for the chairman to sign a tax levy resolution on behalf of the Putnam County Board of Education in the issuance of general obligation bonds. Superintendent Austin is with us, and I believe it's Corey. You're the attorney, correct?
Correct.
Okay. You all can come up and tell us about it.
Thank you all for letting us be here. This is a tax levy resolution that's required by the Constitution when a governmental entity that is not a levying authority seeks to issue general obligation debt, or for quite candidly, any debt. That's what this resolution does. This resolution authorizes you all to collect any additional tax that we as a school district would need to make up the difference between the principal and interest payments of any given year and the amount of SPLOST that is collected during the life of these bonds when they're issued. It is, as I said, it's required by the Constitution. You all have done this multiple times when the school district has issued bonds. Most recently back in 21?
5 years ago when we built the new school.
That's right. Any questions?
And this is SPLOST. We're just getting an advancement of funds. It's the same, it's not new money. We're just getting it so that we can do projects at the beginning of the cycle. But the SPLOST collections will still cover that.
Correct.
And the voters approved $16.5 million worth. We're using 8.5.
So this was the E-SPLOS that we passed 4 years ago.
That's correct.
Not 4 years ago, but back in November.
November 5th.
Oh, this past
2024.
year, November. That was the E-SPLOS we passed.
Correct.
Okay. Just wanted to clarify. I did not know. This is the first I'd seen this.
I mean, this is typical.
Gentlemen, questions? Yes, Commissioner Garrett.
Yes, I think I understand it. So our involvement is because we're the ultimate taxing authorities, and we have to approve the tax commissioner to collect the money, et cetera, and the provisions in here that are, if the sales tax doesn't generate enough revenue, et cetera, are just contingencies. Right. So yes, And just for clarification, you said you're only drawing on 8 million of the 16 million that the voters approved.
Yes.
But meaning the rest will come in through collections over time, or there might be another bond down the road?
What he's talking about is 16 million was the amount of bonds that the voters authorized.
They approved a collection of 33 million.
Of SPLOST funds.
Of SPLOST fund total.
Right.
So 16.5 of bond that we could get money to borrow money against.
So what we're asking for is only approximately half of the total authorization of 16.5 million that the voters approved. So technically, if the board decided to down the road, given the certain amount of time, they could seek an additional amount in bonds and would have to come back before you all to have you all sign the same resolution.
Right. So that
has nothing to do with millage.
No, I understand. So the amount for East Blust was a sort of ceiling, and how you use it will evolve as needs change over the period.
This would be paid off by 10/31 if I read this correct. Is that right?
Before this cycle ends. You've got to do it within that SPLOST cycle.
Mm-hmm. Understand. Other questions? Commissioner Garrett had asked, not Garrett, Commissioner Wooten had asked for the floor.
Yes, why, and what would this money be used for? I mean,
everything that we listed when we had it, the voters to vote on it, It could be used for transportation, renovation, paving.
If you look at this, if you look at the tax levy resolution, the very first whereas clause, the very bottom of that, it goes from little I1 to little I6. That states the specific projects that were on the ballot when the voters approved this. They're all capital outlay expenditures.
So I reckon what you're saying, this is already in place, is that right? Oh, it's already in place, but, the issuance of the bond is to go ahead and get the money up front.
So right now, we collect X amount of dollars per month.
Mm-hmm.
Now, we could wait and collect all the money and do something at the end of the 5-year term when we get that amount of money, or we can prorate it and borrow on the front side and pay for it as we collect it.
All right. If y'all put out any, like, let's just say, if y'all contacted anybody about what the bond would be, the interest on it and stuff like that?
We've already priced them. We priced them yesterday.
Yep.
And so we came up with I have the actual document. I haven't been able to, we got that yesterday. I have 3 of them, sorry.
What was the interest rate? The rate?
3.91.
3.91 is the interest rate.
I just have 3, so sorry.
That's okay.
Y'all are gonna have to share.
That's okay. Now, how would the interest rate, what was the interest rate? I mean, what was the total interest on?
0.91.
Okay, like, what does that add up to over the bond, the period of the
Look
bond?
at the,
We're gonna collect over 9 million, right at 9 million. And I think there's like 1 point.
that's the total cost, principal and interest.
Principal and interest of $10,103,675. It's on there.
Interest. There's principal and interest.
Okay, so now, how is the interest going to be paid? Is it going to come out of the budget, or is it going to come?
No, sir, no, sir.
All SPOS.
All of this is SPOS money. We're gonna collect 16 million.
Right.
We're borrowing 8.5 million.
Mm-hmm.
Everything that we're borrowing plus interest comes from SPOS collection.
I understand that, but what are we getting for $1.6 million? That's what I'm thinking to say. That's interest that we're basically getting nothing for. I mean,
Yeah, we're getting something because we're gonna be able to complete the projects in the next 6 months where we don't have to wait 5 years to do it. What are we gonna do, what now? Oh, okay, I'm sorry.
Oh,
And Mr. Chairman, I imagine also the
Yes,
logic
go
is
ahead,
to
Commissioner
get ahead
Garrett.
of inflation. Inflation could easily eat up that
And
delta in that time
We
frame.
do it all the time because if you get, like you're saying, get ahead of the inflation, the price per square foot of whatever we're gonna do is doing nothing but increasing. And if we're able to do it in bulk and pay for it now, we don't have to wait 3 to 4 to 5 years until we, have our monthly collections.
Right.
But all of it is SPOS, all of it was approved back when we had the vote.
Yeah, no, I understand. Thank you.
So if I understand this correctly, you wanting to do it now to save money, but if you didn't, you'd still have money in the budget to do it? Is that right? No?
Let me see if I can explain this one more time. We're borrowing money
I get that.
to be able to do.
I understand that, but let me stop you right there.
Sure.
Okay? It's getting to a point where you're kind of talking down to me, and I don't appreciate that. No, stop. What I'm trying to say is, we're gonna lose $1.6 million to do it now? Is that what I see right here? We're gonna pay $1.6 million in interest,
That's
right?
Yes.
So that's $1.6 million we're not gonna get. Is that right? Because the payment interest is coming out of the east SPOS.
33 million that
Right.
we're collecting.
You're giving up 1.6 out of 33 million. to do this from now. Is
Yes.
that what we're saying?
If that's the way you want to put it, yes.
Yeah, that's exactly what you're doing.
Well, I mean, you build schools and you've got to sell bonds.
I understand
to do
that,
any work
but
that you do within schools.
let me just tell you something. A lot of people talk to me, and they come talk to me about you guys,
Okay.
which we have we can't control you guys, right? But the way this thing reads is you're paying for basically FF&E up front with this, right? The way it's written in here is general expenses, school buses, and
It's capital.
uniforms. It's what it says in here. It's what the agreement says. Roll up. What does it say? Technology equipment, safety and security, uniforms, fixtures and furnishings.
Right, all capital improvement.
I get that, but have you guys not looked at your budget and can you not pay that out of your general budget?
No, this is, I mean, we don't have the means because we budget our general budget to deal with our 90% of its payroll.
I'll just tell you this, if the county was doing this, people would be going crazy, okay?
I don't have any.
I know, but here's my little soapbox real quick. I pay city taxes, county taxes, and school taxes. My city and my county don't equal my school. That's a lot. I'm just saying, the way this looks, and I understand we probably got to do this, and that's fine, okay?
Well, it was voted on.
I know, I get that. I am totally understanding of that. But I'm just telling you, you guys collect a lot of money, and you keep collecting, and it keeps going up. Where's the return on the investment? The voters are going to ask that, right? And I get, we're all about the school, and I support education, and I'm totally fine with that. But at some point, we got to ask where that return on investment is.
You're welcome to come and see and attend one of our meetings to hear about the return on
I
investment.
probably will do that. Thank you.
I will gladly host.
Okay.
Other questions? Commissioner Hersey?
Gentlemen, we do this all the time, right? Let me just ask one question. Do you validate the bonds before or after this approval? Before. So they're already validated?
Correct.
Yeah. So, well, let me speak to the gentleman from the first district's issue about school taxes. First of all, we know that the school has to provide to the state of Georgia the equivalent of 5 mills. In addition, they have to give to the county about $1 million a year to collect their taxes. When you figure all of that in, given the current millage rate, it's not very different from the county millage rate. So yes, you pay more in school taxes than you do, but you're paying part of that to the state of Georgia. And we get nothing back because we are a wealthy county, unlike Gwinnett County, which is obviously a poor county. Anyway, I don't want to belabor all of this, but
$10 million
you know,
is withheld from local fair.
yeah, I mean, it's, you know, when you come down to it, I mean, you're talking about $11 million that disappears from your budget, that's not going to be provided by the state. You end up paying, what, 60% of the local, from local, 68% from local property taxes. So, and you do a great job. Thank you.
Commissioner McElhaney?
Let me just make it real clear. I absolutely support you guys, and I'm good with it, all right? I've got to be a good citizen of this county and support education, and I'm totally fine with that. I'm just saying, I see pictures in the paper and things like that, and I appreciate you guys doing that too, but at some point, I really would like to see a little more meat on the bone as to what we're producing based on what we're paying. You see what I'm saying? You understand
Well,
what
you're going by what, the newspaper
No,
prints?
I'm looking at, I know I see your picture in the newspaper, and I appreciate that. That's what I'm saying. All
I'm
right?
probably with a kid if you see me.
You're exactly right.
Okay.
You are with a kid. I read the newspaper, believe it or not. But what I'm just saying is, I think I would love to see a little more publicity about what the other things you're doing, especially with your trades and things like that. That just, to me, makes it a better, as a taxpayer, and I see what you're turning out like that, that just makes me feel better. Okay?
We will be glad to share those with
Okay.
you.
I look forward to it. I understand y'all have a nice culinary arts thing up there too.
We do have.
Maybe I can come have lunch.
That'd be great.
Other?
Chairman, just one other thing. When I first joined the school board, our graduation rate from high school was 48%. Most of those kids couldn't read or write when they graduated. It was a kind of a social thing. They had a piece of paper so they could go to work for W. Horton. Our fund balance was $50,000. We had to borrow money just to open the schools in September. Things are very different now. Thank you.
Graduation rates 92.7.
92.7. Somebody asked me that the other day, and I wasn't sure. I knew it was up. Any other questions? Then I will ask for a motion. Do I hear a motion?
I move that we authorize the chairman to sign a tax levy resolution on behalf of the Putnam County Board of Education and the issuance of general obligation bonds.
Second.
Is there other discussion? Hearing none, I'll ask for you to vote electronically. Voting is complete. Districts 1, 2, and 3 vote yea. District 4 votes nay. The motion will carry. And I will sign the tax levy resolution on behalf of Putnam County Board of Education, the issuance of the GO bond. Thank you. And gentlemen, we appreciate you being here. Suggestion I'd make, I'd like to see the Board of Commissioners have, meet with you a little more often. I see you, Commissioner, or Mr. Austin, and I think that it would be good that we kind of know what's going on.
I don't have a problem with that.
And I'd like to see that become a little closer relationship. I believe that things work better when we talk, and I'd just like to see that. Thank you. Item number 15 is award of the bid number 2635001-001. This is a public safety emergency parking on State Road 24 and U.S. Highway 441 in Putnam County. Paul?
Yes, sir. So, talking about the $1 million fire trucks, Dr. Hersey, this is an attempt to avoid pulling our fire trucks down into where the DNR park across from Plant Branch. We're trying to build up a shoulder where these trucks can get safely off the road and then get back on the highway with as least amount of risk as possible. So this allows the firefighters to run to the boat or to the lake rather than going with full gear about 70 to 100 yards. And this little parking lane was put out for bid, and the approvals were received to get access from DOT and Georgia Power. And to make the parking lane improvement, the low bidder was $216,000, Chief, if I'm not mistaken. And I believe there's, don't they have a map up there? Don't they have the lane on that cover sheet? Okay. So if you would, Chief, would you come up and explain it's a shoulder improvement. They're taking the trees down. They're going to rework the boulder-sized riprap out there and give the fire trucks enough room to pull off.
Yes, sir. Currently, when you go to the Lake Sinclair boathouse where the fireboat is stored, we have to park in the parking lot for the fishing dock that's down there. DNR has a gravel parking lot that they use to access their boathouse, but it's not large enough for our fire vehicles to park in. So the thought process was, this is sort of like a decel lane that's in the right-of-way of 441 right there. If you've ever been there, there's an existing fence that separates the Georgia Power property from the DOT right-of-way, and this would be on that shoulder there. It would be a 16-foot wide decel lane there that is, I think, 90 feet long, Mr. Paul, which is designed to be long enough for our largest apparatus, if it were to have to respond to the fireboat, to merge into that lane and park out of the way. There's 8 foot of gore, the white lines in the road, that separates where the truck would park in the lane from the travel lanes of the highway. That way we wouldn't be impeding the flow of traffic from the highway at all. And Mr. Paul said it's about 100 yards, but I think that's stretching it. It's a good little hump over the hill and through the woods to get to the boathouse from where we have to park. So this plan, as designed by the engineer, would give us an opportunity to pull out of the traffic right there and probably have about a 25 or 30 foot, maybe a little more, paved sidewalk with a gate in the existing fence and a couple of steps down to our boathouse. If you've ever been there, the first entrance goes to where DNR and Putnam County Sheriff's park their boat in a shared boathouse, and then Baldwin County has a boathouse, and then ours is out there on the end. So this would give us access closer to our end. Is that everything you wanted me to cover? Yes, sir.
Any other questions? Commissioner Hersey?
You know, the low bid, as I read, is 216,000.
728.02.
What, the low bid? I mean, I couldn't read the little numbers. Okay, approximately 217,000. Did we contact anybody else to see if they wanted to share that cost?
No, sir, the fire truck will take up all of it.
So it's strictly for the fire truck. And you say it's a decel lane, kind of like, but
I wouldn't call it a decel lane because we will have to cross the northbound traffic lanes to get into it, but it would be alongside the travel lanes, similar to a decel lane. And just as a point of clarification, the current parking that's used by law enforcement would not be affected by this addition of parking. It occurs south of the driveway and parking area that they currently use.
I mean, obviously, when you come from that, you're coming back towards town or back towards Putnam County, for that matter. Can the vehicle turn around there?
Well, it would have to merge back into the southbound lanes and cross over into Baldwin County to safely turn around. I don't think we should do a U-turn right there. I guess unless it's 3 o'clock in the morning and no one's coming, you know, but we should be able to use our emergency lights to get back into the lane of traffic and go down to where it's safe for us to turn around is the plan.
Yeah, I mean, it's just.
Commissioner Wooten.
Oh, I'm pretty sure you've talked to Georgia Power. There's a big possibility right there where that new road is coming out that it's going to be a signal light there. They are pushing for it really hard right there, pretty much right where you're talking about. And that might be something that in the future we could, if it got to be an emergency, you could hit it red, turn them all red, and do what you got to do with your fire trucks and everything. I've had conversations with pretty much the manager of the project down there, and they are trying desperately to get a signal light there.
Yes, sir.
With them big trucks coming in and out.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Tom.
Yes, sir.
Other questions? If not, I'll entertain a motion. Okay, you have
Chairman,
another question?
one more question to Paul. We're paying for this out of what?
SPOS 9.
Out of SPOS 9.
Fire,
So
yes, sir.
we're paying
That's
for
part
the
of the
CT
1.4.
scanner out of SPOS 9. We're paying for this out of SPOS 9. We're fire truck out of SPOS. Ooh.
We did good on that one, didn't we?
I'm just trying to zero out the accountants. We're in SPOS 10 now, so.
SPOS 10 starts May 1st, right?
That's when we receive the money. so.
Okay. That's when it starts, when we receive it. I'll entertain a motion.
Okay.
Will someone make a
I
motion?
want to make a motion, for awarding the bid, number 26-35001-001, public safety emergency parking on State Route 24 US 441 Putnam County.
For
For
$216,000.
$216,000,
$82.02. And you're awarding it to the low bidder of All Star Concrete.
To All Star Concrete.
Second.
We have a motion and a second on the floor. Is there further discussion? Hearing none, I'll ask for the electronic vote. Voting is complete. Districts 1, 2, 3, and 4 vote aye. And Paul, let's award the bid number 26-35001-001 for public safety emergency parking on State Road 24, US 441 in Putnam County, to the vendor that I said earlier, and the amount of money that I said. And that passes. Thank you, gentlemen. Next is 16, and we have somebody signed in to speak, so he'll speak first. But this 16 is authorization for the staff to schedule a public hearing on proposed changes to the Putnam County Code of Ordinance, Chapter 2, Administration. And Charles Gray has signed in to speak.
Thank you. And bear with me because this time I'm reading from my cell phone after sitting here 2.5 hours. So I'm a little tired. Are not volunteers hard enough to find? Volunteers for authorities are typically those who have experience and knowledge in the area the authority services and willing to give their time and knowledge for no more other purpose than to see Putnam County grow stronger. They are not doing it for the money. They are not paid. They're not doing it for the benefits. There are no benefits. Their only wanting is to serve Putnam County and see it grow stronger. Now you're proposing that they provide a financial report before they can be appointed to these authorities. Are you saying that is their financial status that will get them appointed to the authority, or knowledge? Or are you saying you just want to make their financial statements public record so those who spend hours after hours going through public record requests looking for any piece of dirt and information they can find to use against authorities or their volunteers? Or is this ordinance change, or if this ordinance change gets approved, you will most likely not have any more volunteers, and additionally, lose a lot of the volunteers you have. Is this ordinance change proposal no more than an effort from Mr. Hersey to drive yet another nail through the coffin of Putnam County? Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, I object to the use of a specific name in the public comments.
It's been done before,
Could you please advise Mr. Gray
I
that names
apologize.
are not appropriate?
If I apologize if I use names inappropriately. It's just I sit here meeting after meeting at every meeting, and I hear other members of the audience come up and use public names commonly.
Yes.
So I apologize if I misstated. Would you please correct my statement to say the commissioner from District 3? Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, Commissioner Hersey has put this on the agenda, so we'll invite you to provide information on the item.
The motion would simply be to authorize the staff to schedule a public hearing on this. In consultation with our attorney, it seemed appropriate to place this under Section 2 of our county ordinance. Perhaps I think it was 266 was the suggested one, which is a reserved item. And I provided a copy of what I feel is an appropriate addition to our ordinance. And obviously, during the public hearing, anybody can speak to the specifics of the ordinance, and either approve the change or not. But basically what I'm saying is that all of us as elected officials have to provide annually a personal financial disclosure form, which doesn't list our income, it just lists what we own and what businesses we are involved in. And because of the appointments to various authorities, they have, in part at least, access and a right to county funds. And I think that it is only appropriate that they also provide us with the personal financial disclosure form annually, so that if anyone cares to look at it, we can determine whether there is a potential conflict of interest with issues that they are dealing with.
Would you like to put that in the form of a motion?
The
We get a motion
is
to second,
simply
we
to
discuss it
authorize the
further.
staff to schedule a public hearing on proposed changes to Putnam County Code of Ordinance, Chapter 2, Administration.
Is there a second?
I'll second for the purposes of discussion.
We have a motion and a second on the floor, and we're open the floor for discussion. Commissioner Hersey, you have more to say? You made the motion.
I would just say that, yes, the members that we appoint to various authorities are volunteers, but do we just appoint somebody off the street? I mean, you know, we know nothing about the kinds of financial interactions that they are involved in, what their businesses are, or whatever. All we know is what they put on their application, that they've attended such and such a college or whatever, and they are currently, if they have done any prior government service, but we really don't know much about the individuals. We just made an appointment to the Putnam Development Authority. I don't know anything about the person that we appointed in terms of what he does or what he owns or anything. So, because I have to and you have to put in a personal financial disclosure form for the Ethics Committee to determine whether you have or have any potential conflict of interest with any issue. I think that members appointed by this board to authorities need also, or should also, provide us with a financial disclosure form. And the part of it is that it'll be the same form that we have to fill out on an annual basis.
Commissioner Garrett, you seconded. Do you have a comment?
Yes. So I do share the concern that we already struggle to recruit volunteers to serve on boards. We still have a number of vacancies. We had many more when I first came in, and we've worked hard to fill them, and it's rare that we have more than one or two, often just one, to choose from. And I am concerned that potential applicants might be put off if their private matters have to be disclosed. I understand what Commissioner Hersey is saying. We obviously don't want conflicts of interest, but I think we also have to, I'm not aware of any egregious, obvious conflicts of interest. If there are those allegations, I think they can be addressed through other means. I think while some of our boards, the PDA, for example, does receive a significant amount of county funding, the rest, as far as I'm aware, one or two get very nominal amounts of compensation. We as elected officials do get not significant, but not insignificant compensation. And I think that warrants the kind of financial disclosures that we and all other elected officials around the state have to provide on an annual basis. It's pretty extensive documentation, and it doesn't require every detail, but it certainly takes some time to complete. And but I think it's fair, given that we're elected, not appointed, and that we get some compensation that is more than just nominal. And I think we have other ways of addressing conflicts of interest. So I see this as a little overkill, and I would rather that if we have concerns about any specific individuals or conflicts, let's deal with those. Let's not have a blanket requirement that seems excessive and might actually be counterproductive.
Commissioner Wooten?
As Commissioner Garrett said, I've been here 6 years, and I'm probably, other than you, we've had a struggle trying to get folks to do this, time-wise and stuff like that, no pay. And, I tell you, if I see somebody, when Lynn sends it out, who it is, I'll make it a point. I'm not going to sit at the house. I'm going to make it a point to call people that know these people and ask what their business is, and find out what they got going on in life. In my district, I went door to door when I got elected the first time, and basically pretty much the second time. And I knew these people. One of them was on the planning and zoning now. I found out he was a surveyor, and I asked him if he would be interested in maybe a future position on the planning and zoning. And his wife, she said, "Well, what about a library on the library board?" I said, "If when one comes up, you'll get that. If I'll present you out there." And it's a part of our responsibility to, when we see who's up, is to find out about them. And that way, I'm gonna tell you something. I wouldn't do it free of charge. I mean, with knowing that people could know all my business. I mean, it's bad enough that, like I said, time and time again, with what I've been through out there, I'm tired of folks being in my life, and just every time I turn around, I see a picture, somebody shows me a picture on Facebook or something that shouldn't be, that I wouldn't go take a picture of their front yard. And this is getting very invasive when we ask these folks to do this. But I guarantee you one thing, when I appoint somebody or okay somebody, I know what he is or she is or something like that. And I think it's a lack of responsibility for somebody to say that I don't know them. Find out who these people are. You ain't going to hire somebody without finding out about them. And that's what basically we're doing. And that's all I got to say.
Commissioner McElhaney?
I actually had a whole lot to say, but Commissioner Garrett took it away from me. I totally agree with what he said, what Commissioner Garrett said. He hit the nail on the head with this thing. We already have enough trouble finding that folks to serve, and if they're doing it for free, I mean, I wouldn't give you my financials for doing something for free. So I think this is an overreach. I think that we already have a conflict of interest policy. I think that should cover everything we need. I just don't think this is needed.
Other comments? Commissioner Hersey?
Well, first thing I want to say is that the change to the ordinance says authority. It has nothing to do with committees, has nothing to do with the Planning and Zoning Committee or Commission. It's only authorities. It really doesn't even apply to the hospital authority, which we don't appoint members to. We propose 3 names, but they make the appointment. Okay, so it is a restricted thing. Now, if people are going to be on an authority, I think that they have the duty to provide us with the same kind of information as we have to provide to the state ethics board. And if people are unwilling to provide those financials, I would say they're trying to hide something. Just, I mean, why wouldn't they? I mean, all the financials ask you, do you own a business? Do you own property? That's all it asks. It doesn't ask you for your income. It doesn't ask you if you, well, it asks you if you hold individual stocks but not mutual funds. There is nothing, you know, untoward about that. I mean, we do it every year. I've done it for, I don't know, 15 years or so. I mean, I don't have a problem with it, and I don't think that somebody who is interested in becoming a member of an authority should have a problem with filling it out either. So,
Commissioner Garrett?
Mr. Chairman, so Commissioner McElhaney said we have a conflict of interest provision in our code, and I think what Commissioner Hersey said in response was that it's particular to the Planning and Zoning Commission and zoning-related matters. Is that accurate, or is it more general than that?
So, well, there is under state law, and there's other state laws that indicate or implicate other specific authorities and boards. I think Commissioner Hersey's proposal is to place this in 2-66, which would be Article 3 of Chapter 2. That section includes reference to the Development Authority of Putnam County, Lake Oconee Area Development Authority, and the Putnam County Recreation Committee. Now, I will tell you, not to get into too many of the semantics, but 2-53 sets out the appointment procedures, and it references boards, authorities, and commissions. So we are already using that language to be broad in how you make your appointments. Now, whether the issue about who it would apply to is one that I believe if you place it in 266, his intention is to place it just in Article 3.
But I just want to understand. So today, how do we guard against potential conflicts of interest?
You as a body are not necessarily in a position where you're doing anything different than the state system already does. So, for example, if somebody were to self-deal in some way, there are criminal statutes that may be implicated. As I was speaking to, Development Authority law has certain conflict of interest provisions in it that it would mandate if you're a member of a development authority, there's a state procedure that says if you violate this, I believe it's a misdemeanor if you violate some of those provisions. I'm not super familiar with the hospital authority law, at least enough to recall it, but I would assume there may be something to the same extent. Members of a zoning body would have to give information about their impact that they may have or interest they may have in a rezoning action. It just depends. From your standpoint, I guess maybe to answer your question differently, presently we do not have a Putnam County local ordinance or system that checks for conflict of interest. There are some jurisdictions that have adopted code of ethics or ethics ordinances that would create such a system. I couldn't give you an assessment of how many places have or don't have that. A lot of the counties I represent do not have those. They rely upon the state procedures in place to handle those conflicts.
And where a local jurisdiction has instituted something else, do I understand correctly, it's essentially in the code of ordinances that any appointee would acknowledge rather than special disclosures on their part?
Normally what would happen, I mean, the jurisdictions that I represent, I would say half of the jurisdictions off the top of my head have ethics ordinances. Some of them are on the books and they're never used. Some of them are very active. And it is not you're right, it's not a clearinghouse off the front end. It is when a conflict arises, you then handle that issue. It doesn't do a evaluation at the beginning of the appointment.
Right. So today, should a conflict arise, there are certainly state criminal mechanisms to misdemeanors to handle it.
Depending on the facts, yes. And like I said, for example, the Development Authority's law has pretty significant penalties in place that if you were to, say, own property inside an area where development was taking place, or where the Development Authority gained an interest. It just every authority you could bring up, there's usually going to be some state statute that tells you can't self-deal. But generally, again, those are usually reactive. But there are, I should say this, there are examples that are similar, like how you guys have to, when you become a public official, you have to do a personal financial disclosure statement. I don't know the equivalent. That particular form is filled out by, I apologize, I had the list up a second ago. It's listed in the state statute who does that form, and it's primarily elected officials.
Mm-hmm.
But I'll find that, and if I do, I'll bring it back up.
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
Mr. Attorney.
You've had two.
Could you please, point of information?
Point of information, go ahead.
Mr. Attorney, are elected officials bound by the state code of conduct?
Depending on the office. So the Georgia Ethics Commission has set up requirements for the personal financial disclosure forms that we've referred to. Some state officers are subject to the provisions in the Title 45.
Local officials don't have to obey the code of conduct.
The state ethics policy that's found in Title 45
there is, all right.
does
So
not
it's in
apply
the
to local government officials. Some jurisdictions have adopted their equivalent systems, and they do that through code of ordinances or local legislation.
So the financial disclosure form is the only way that anybody locally elected official would be determined whether they had a conflict of interest in their vote.
I think it's one way. If there was evidence that a member of the commission...
I assume that the same is true of anybody we would appoint.
If there's any evidence that somebody has self-dealed, you'd immediately turn that over to law enforcement. But you're right, I agree with you that you wouldn't know until you know.
It happened.
So basically, what you're saying is that the state provisions don't apply to anybody we appoint to an authority.
The state ethics code found in, I believe it's Title 45, do not. Correct.
So what I am asking here is that those people who are appointed to authorities have the same obligations to the ethics board as we elected officials. And it doesn't include any commission or any committee, specifically authority.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to call for question.
Okay, do we need to vote on calling the question? We have a motion and a second. The question has been called for. We're ready to vote. Vote electronically. And this is the motion.
Well, but just to clarify, the motion is to schedule a public hearing.
Yes.
Not.
Yeah, okay.
Quite.
I'll read it to you. The motion is to authorize the staff to schedule a public hearing on proposed changes to the Putnam County Code of Ordinance, Chapter 2, Administration. That's the motion. And the second. Voting is complete. Districts 1 and 2 vote nay, 3 yea, 4 nay. The motion fails. Moving to item number 17. This is a discussion regarding overview of the USA 250 Smithsonian Voices and Votes events hosted in Putnam County, the Administration Building, and commemorative drone show proposal. Richard Garrett.
Thank you. Ms. Lynn, could you bring up my slides, please? I just thought some visuals might be helpful. So as I think Mr. Vargo reminded us, Putnam County has been honored with being the first Georgia location for the Smithsonian Voices and Votes exhibit, Democracy in America, marking our nation's 250th birthday. It's being set up primarily in the rotunda in this building, and there will be associated events in this room and also in the side room. And I want to, and you can see the various, sorry, just go back to that title slide. You can see the various local sponsors. You see Putnam County, City of Eatonton, Visit Eatonton, Georgia Writers Museum, Old School Museum, as well as Georgia Humanities and the Smithsonian. So this is a wonderful collaboration and a coming together of ideas and history that I don't think we'll see again in our lifetimes. So I just wanted to put it on the agenda and make sure those few of us still in the audience, but also those watching online who may watch it later. I've met people just this weekend who said, have no idea this was happening, just out of the loop for whatever reason. And some influential people, some local pastors, for example, not aware of it. And I just want to make sure people are aware of it. It opens April 25th and goes right through May 31st. And you can see that the opening times there at the bottom of the slide. If we go to the next slide, what you're going to find in this exhibit is a variety of photographs, video, multimedia, games, and various historical objects, many of them pertaining to elections, voting, our democracy. And there's going to be an opening reception this Friday, and the guest of honor is former Governor Nathan Deal. It's very unfortunate all of us on this podium pretty much are going to be in Savannah at the ACCG conference, so we won't be here. I really wish we could be here, but I know it's ticketed and it's already sold out, but I'm glad to hear it's sold out. If we go to the next slide, there's a number of local events associated with this, and I'm involved with 3 of them, so I'm going to highlight the ones that I'm involved with, but there's a whole variety. There's a website for this on the Georgia Writers Museum page that lists all kinds of events associated with Voices and Votes, but let me just highlight 3 of them. There's going to be a panel in association with Butler Baker School Alumni Project, The Power and Dignity of the Vote. We're going to have 3 seniors from the community, and I'll tell you who they are, from 3 different decades. So we have Miss Rosie Dennis, who's in her late 70s. We have Miss Georgia Smith, who you will know in her mid-80s. And then we have Miss Marie Daniel, who will be 95 this year. And they've all agreed to take part in this panel and to take us back to the 1940s, 50s, and 60s, 40s in the case of Miss Daniel, as to what it was like to be African American in Putnam County when your right to vote was questionable at best, and how things changed, their involvement in the civil rights movement locally and beyond, and how things transitioned to the much better situation that we're in now. So that's the first one. That's on Saturday, May 9th at 2 p.m. And Miss Keely Reed, who is the granddaughter of Miss Susie Brundage, a graduate of Butler Baker High School in 1959. She's going to moderate the panel. So if we go to the next one. There's this is a documentary that was made by filmmaker Byron Hurt, who has roots in Putnam County. And this was released and shown on PBS a couple of years ago. Searching for Ancestors, African American Genealogy. It says part 1 because there's another event on that theme involving a author who has done research on her ancestors in neighboring Greene County. But this first part is going to be at the Plaza. It's a documentary focused on the Hurt Waller family, which is a major African American family in Putnam County, and their efforts to try and go back into the 19th century after the Civil War and piece together their ancestry. It's a very engaging documentary by a professional award-winning filmmaker, and Mr. Hurt has agreed to come to introduce his film and answer questions afterwards. So that's Saturday, May 23rd, 2 p.m. at the Plaza. And the last one I'll mention, this is a session I decided to do. I'm very interested in the history of this county, and since becoming an elected official, I've been particularly interested in the history of voting and elections. So I'm going to do a hopefully engaging talk about some of that history focused on the 20th century, women's suffrage, racial equality, some interesting court cases. That's going to be here in the Putnam County Administration Building, I think in that smaller room, because this room is going to be used for the Planning and Zoning Commission meeting that evening. But hopefully Chairman Gray will finish it promptly by 7, and everyone can come next door and listen to me. If we go to the next slide, maybe it's because I was born in another country and I chose to become an American citizen, but to me, the ideals of American democracy are very important, and our country is so divided now, and we cast aspersions on each other far too casually, I think. And this is an opportunity, this momentous anniversary. Very few of us will see the 300th anniversary of our nation. So I think it's important to remember, and this is a quote from the Smithsonian Voices and Votes website, the importance of renewing our democracy, not just remembering it as some big bang that we don't have to think about. Our democracy demands action, reaction, vision, and revision. From revolution and suffrage to civil rights, casting ballots, everyone in our community is part of this ever-evolving story, the story of democracy in America. Now, if we go to the next slide, so if you remember, this was last year, a number of citizens said, next year is the 250th anniversary, Putnam County needs to do something. And people talked about fireworks and drone shows, and I decided that I would volunteer and look into it, see what we might be able to do. And I've got a proposal that I want to share, and I'll stress this is tonight just for discussion. We're not voting on this. I just want to put it out there for my fellow commissioners and for members of the public, those watching online, interested in reactions. What I thought I would do, I was just curious, I went back 100 years. What did the good folks of Eatonton do in 1926 to mark the 150th anniversary? And there was a headline, Eatontonians, we don't say that really anymore, but Eatontonians observe American Independence Week by celebrating. Bells ring and whistles blow at 11 minutes after 11 o'clock Monday morning. That's a reference to, in Philadelphia, they were ringing the Liberty Bell, and local churches, most churches in those days had bells, were ringing them, and people would whistle to fall in line. And an interesting local connection, the article notes that they got the date wrong, but they noted that Thomas Jefferson died on July 4th, 1826, and they were marking his centenary. And of course, the main thoroughfare for Eatonton is named for Thomas Jefferson. If you go to the next slide, the next week, so that headline was anticipating, this was the headline after July 4th, minus the fireworks, and then this rather concerning subheading passes quietly without any tragedies, which, I don't know, is amusing 100 years on, but it's probably the poorly regulated state of the fireworks industry at the time. So coming to the proposal, I thought about fireworks, but the more I got into it, insurance issues, liability issues, cost issues, so I started to focus on drones. So I've been reaching out to a variety of drone show companies, and some were more responsive than others. Some it quickly got very, very expensive. But there was one particular company, Lunar Lights out of Florida, that impressed me with their persistence, their follow-up, and they offered a much more reasonable price for what is a much more a longer lasting and higher drone number show. Other people were quoting me the same price for 150 drones. This one would be 500 drones. They were quoting me the same price for 10 minutes. Lunar Lights is saying 15 minutes. I've done a lot of research into them. They have done all kinds of shows like this over the last few years, a very legitimate company. I was hoping they were going to be finished on the USA 250 July 4th show they're putting together, but they haven't quite finished the script. They haven't quite finished the sort of reel, if you like. So they said, could I show an example of a drone show they've done at a previous July 4th event in another location. So if the technology is going to cooperate, we'll just watch a quick video to give you a sense of what they do.
Live from Coral Gables for their centennial celebration, Lunar Light Drone Show Technologies is here. We're so excited. We're elated. Get ready.
Drone show was amazing. I've never seen it in my life. That was the first time I've ever witnessed something like that.
I thought it was really, really cool. Very unique.
Thank you to Lunar Lights.
Thank you to Lunar Lights.
Thank you, Lunar Lights. Thank you, Lunar Lights.
Happy 4th of July and thank you to Lunar Lights.
Okay, so that gives you a sense of what they do. Now, let me just offer a couple of, well, one, the dollar price they're asking is $40,000, which I know is a significant amount, but based on all the research I did, for what it is, it's good value. Let me put it that way. The other clarification is that this is not a July 4th on the day price. That would be considerably higher and harder to get this company at this stage. So this would be, if we decided to move forward, this would be for a date around that date. You know, we could pick a suitable date. They've thought about different locations around the county, and essentially anywhere with a decent open space. I mean, we talked about Oconee Springs Park. We talked about the pool recreation center. You know, I think we have some options there. So my sense is that this could be combined with, you know, some vendors. Some, you know, bouncy house, various things that would make a nice county event without spending a lot of additional money. I think it makes sense for such a momentous occasion for us to do something, for the county to take the lead in doing something. Obviously, there'll be other fireworks displays. There's lots of things going up the lake. Not trying to compete with that. But I did what I was asked to do some research, come up with a proposal. And as I say, I'm not asking for a motion tonight. I'm asking for a vote. I want everyone to think about it, but what I'd like to do, if there is some interest, is bring it back at the next meeting, and then we could have it as an action item and vote then. But I'd take any questions or comments.
I have one question. Would it be a would it be a program that was designed specifically for Eatonton, Putnam County?
Yes, I forgot to mention that. So there's obviously some economies of scale for them if they can put the show on in different locations. So what they told me was that there can be elements that are customized to us. We could have some Putnam County imagery or City of Eatonton imagery, but it would be a sort of minor part of an otherwise, generic show. I think that's the trade-off. If we wanted to spend a lot more, we can have it as customized as we like. But I would argue, most of the imagery will be nonetheless appropriate and appealing, and we could have a piece of it that was specific to us.
Other questions?
I don't have any questions, but thank you, Richard, for doing that. I think this is a fantastic idea, and I would absolutely love to see that.
So would I, by the way. I'm very much in favor of this. Jeff?
I'm all in favor too. I mean, this sounds, and you put a lot of time and effort to get it done, and I don't know how the other commissioners feel about it, but the sooner we get started on this, the sooner we could carry through. And I'd be willing to go through it with it tonight. I mean, this is a really good thing. Good thing about it, there's no fire danger. Fireworks, and you never know. We already starting out dry this year, and the prediction is to get drier. And this is a good idea with the drones. And this is just my little click in it. It could be, one of the things. I don't know what it would cost, but say, Putnam County, they're capital of Georgia, and because that's where we really have come from over the years. But yeah, I'm all in for voting on it tonight. I mean, if we got the funds.
I was going to ask Paul, can we find $40,000 to do something like this?
Can we get donations? I mean, we got a lot of rich people around here.
Yeah.
Businesses, donate.
Okay, this answer, if you didn't hear, was he will work out the funds if that's what the board wants. Commissioner McElhaney, you.
Yeah, I'd like to make a motion if that's all right.
You don't have an item.
Chairman, there is.
It's no, you're right.
We can't take a motion.
We have to put an item on the agenda, but we can certainly bring it forth to the next one.
Commissioner
There's
Garrett, it
discussion
may
only.
be effective to ask the vendor if they have a contract, so we could go ahead and get
Yeah,
that
I was going to
looked at.
say, I can let them know that there's some serious interest, or I'd like to hear what Commissioner Hersey wants to say as well. And yeah, trying to get things teed up.
I think that from a discussion standpoint, you've got at least 3 votes that have said move forward, and I think Commissioner Hershey probably is for it too. I don't know. He hadn't said, but. Other comments in the discussion? Then we'll try to prepare and for the next meeting.
Chairman, I think to get a suitable date, and I ain't trying to push this thing as hard, I'm pushing this thing as hard as I can. I reckon I am, but to get a suitable date close to the 4th, we need to expedite this thing pretty good, and that way Richard can get in touch with everybody he needs to get in touch with.
Yeah, Mr. County Manager, perhaps I could liaise with you and just think about a location, possibly, and any timing I might need to be aware of. Well, then again, you won't be here, will you? That's true. But anyway, for the time being, you'll have some insights.
At least we got something started. Okay, we'll move to number 18, report. County Manager, do you have a report?
No report, sir.
Mr. County Attorney, do you have a report?
Mr. Chairman, I wanted to clean up a few things. I have not been able, our minutes don't go back far enough, but I think in August of 2018, we did adopt an IGA with the hospital. I have a Word version, but not the PDF version, and I believe it would have been to the tune of $1 million, SPLOST allocation. But we can confirm that. That would have been SPLOST 9. And then on one of the comments that you made earlier, Commissioner Garrett, I want to clarify your question raised about, or maybe it's Commissioner Hersey, I'm sorry. There are some appointments that you make to state entities that may be subject to Title 45. I don't know those, but those would be ones that you make appointments to state entities, and that's a little bit complicated, but generally my answer stands. I just think there may be some appointments that you have been given the power to do under Georgia law that official may be subject. So. And then finally, Mr. Chairman, after consultation with Commissioner Wooten, there is a request for one personnel matter discussed in executive session.
So we need an executive session. Okay, can I go on and do commission announcements first? Then announcements, Commissioner McElhaney.
None, sir.
Commissioner Garrett?
Just two quick ones. So I think I've said before, I was talking to one of the members of the Putnam County High School graduating class of 1971, who pointed out that that was the first integrated class in the county's history, and they couldn't mark the 50th anniversary because it was during COVID, and he wanted to mark the 55th anniversary. And while I was doing my Eatonton Messenger research, I stumbled across, maybe they did this every year, but a full-page ad for the class of 71 listing every single graduate. And what Melton Smith, who's the president of the Butler Baker Alumni Group, he's from the class of 71. What he would love to do is later in the year bring some class members here and have a proclamation honoring them. And what I'm going to do, I'm finishing up a commissioner newsletter, and I'm going to put this 1971 commemorative listing of the graduates and just see if we can find more of those graduates who are still in the county and who might be interested in coming out and commemorating that pioneering class. Second item, this is I'm just putting it out there. I'm not going to name names, but I have a constituent who came to me with a challenge that I'm trying to figure out how to solve, and I'm just going to put it out there and see if anyone can help. So essentially, she's a senior citizen, worked all her life, paid taxes all her life, and she has in her backyard a number of very, very tall, leaning pine trees that are very close to her house. Shouldn't have been let grow, but they're enormous, and she worries that they're going to fall over and damage her house. And she's got quotes from people to do it. Very, very expensive nowadays to dispose of cut down trees. I got a friend of mine to give her a much more affordable quote, still beyond her means. So I'm just putting it out there to the good people of Putnam County. If there's anyone who might have the equipment, the licensing, the know-how, and can help out this wonderful lady, please get in touch with me and see what we can do. Just putting it out there. Thank you.
Commissioner Hersey? Commissioner Wooten?
I just want to thank everybody that keeps the county going the way it does. I mean, we are, folks, I hope people realize how good a county we got. I've seen our surrounding counties having a lot of difficulties in paying the bills. As earlier said, through our planning and zoning and Putnam development and everything, I see a lot of people, a lot of builders say, man, y'all are hard to get a permit. And surrounding counties, let me put it that way, they said, it's just so simple. I said, well, I'm going to tell you something. We are held to a higher standard, and that's what we want to have. We don't want to have, and I see contractors pouring cement that shouldn't be poured. I see in surrounding counties, I see stuff going on, and that's not happening here. It's not happening here, and I appreciate them doing the job that they do. And it's a lot of things, and we've been very fortunate to have the sheriff and everybody. Where I work, it's 5 or 6 counties that I deliver equipment to and deal with people in 5 or 6 counties. And to hear them talk, well, we're on top of the world here. I'm just here to tell you. Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you. I have 2 quick things. One, I want to thank Dr. Stinnett, one, for moving to the great state of Georgia and coming over to Eatonton and Putnam County. His wife is my doctor over in Greene County, and she's great too. But thank you for all you do for us, and I see medical improvements, and I know that you've made a difference, and thank you for making that difference. I know you serve our jail and our jail inmates. I know you do hospitalist work, and you're doing great things for our community, and I want to say thank you for that. And the next thing I want to say is Harmony Road paving will begin tomorrow. If you're going to be around Harmony Road, you want to allow a little extra time, because that could indeed be a problem area. And I don't know how many weeks it'll take to finish, but it'll be paved from 441, and there'll be some work done on just past Scott Road. Some of it's been done, but there's about a 1,200-foot strip that's going to have to be finished there too. So, thank you. Now, go ahead, Commissioner.
I just want to thank you guys for lasting 3.5 hours.
Yes. Thank you very much. I'll entertain a motion to enter into executive session as allowed by OCGA 50-14-4 for discussion of personnel. And is that correct? And if you make a motion?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? I'll call for a voice vote. District 1.
Aye.
District 2.
Aye.
District 3.
Aye.
District 4.
Aye.
Okay, and I'm going to say we need about a 5 to 7 minute break before we